How you feeling, dog? You all right?
Considering I'm in like a,
I
I'm not
leave
in
for
a bad
one
mood.
second. One
I'm just
second.
so,
Just
so annoyed.
Come
So
on, let's
annoyed.
just get it off, dog. Cause maybe we can therapize you, or maybe we gonna laugh at you. You just never know. We just this stuff.
No, so the crazier part is Friday. I don't know if y'all saw my story, but there was like a car meetup at there's a gas station on 13 in Woodward.
Yeah,
During the summer, it gets like it's some beautiful cars and shit. Basically, like a Fast and Furious scene, right? So Mike tells me that it's a car meetup, so I'm like, bet. I'm at the crib chilling, so I go up there. I park. There's a car wash next to the gas station. I park at the car wash, and I'm getting out to look at the vehicles and shit. Not even there 2 minutes, and police pull up. Right? I'm like, okay. All these nice cars are pulling out, and I don't know if y'all saw my story, but they're like starting to like speed off and
yeah,
whatever. So the police pull up to where like everybody's exiting, and there's a Durango that was about to pull off. So the police there's like enough room where the Durango can try to maneuver, but then the police is like, no, fuck that, and basically didn't hit the vehicle, but close enough where it couldn't move.
yeah.
So that pissed them off. All of a sudden, the whole fucking gas station is surrounded where every exit has at least two cop cars. Nobody can leave,
jeez.
right? I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I get back in my vehicle. Behind the car wash, there's no way to get out, but there's a curb. I got a Jeep. I'm like, I hop this bitch.
Whoa,
I'm like, no.
whoa.
Right. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I'm gonna just be a good citizen and go up to these police officers and let them know there's a simple misunderstanding. I'm not a part of this. I just came to watch, right? Go to pull off, and the cop's like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but just hang tight till we figure out. I'm like, all right, waiting. A cop comes from behind my fucking vehicle and is like handing me something. I'm like, what is this? He's handing me a parking ticket. I'm like, what is parking ticket for what? Like, what the fuck is this for? And he's like, everybody's here getting one. If you got a problem with it, set up a court date. And throws the ticket basically in my Jeep because I'm not taking it. Gerard, I'm like, for a minute, I'm like, ha. I'm like, ain't no fucking way. So I get out. I'm like, bro, how you gonna give me a parking ticket? I'm in my vehicle in drive, like waiting for y'all to let me out. I'm not a part of this. So I'm like, just who's in charge? Send me to who's in charge. I tell him like, bro, like I just can't, I literally wasn't even here for 2 minutes. Yeah, well, the gas station want everybody to leave. We have jurisdiction over this, blah blah blah. I hate to sound like this, but yeah, you're gonna have to set up a court date if you have a problem with it.
Jesus.
I'm like, bro, what like? Okay, so whatever. I get badge numbers, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna deal with that. So this is Friday night. So what I told y'all just happened is on top of what just fucking happened with the parking ticket that I got. So I'm like, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, bro, like,
I'd make Mike pay for it.
man, the funny part is like, I'm like, Mike, I feel like this is a GTA mission. There's certain missions you do in GTA and you pull up and there's like
Mm-hmm.
undercover cops. And as soon as you like go to do something, they like, but long story short, I'm like, bro, I've been just like I'm like, am I putting myself in like awful position? Like, I don't know if this is bad luck or like I need to like
Well, I
improve
need
my.
I need to hear the indie story first before I call you a dumbass, because that wasn't your fault. That shit, that wasn't your fault. You know, you just wrong place, wrong time.
Yep.
But I need to hear
So,
the indie story.
so the indie story is I don't want to share too much, but basically I have a friend that's been going through a lot
Yeah,
and convinced me to like come visit.
yeah,
But the whole time I'm like, yo, like stay by your phone. Like I'm wanting to meet somewhere maybe like halfway,
right.
but he's like, I'm gonna give you gas money, like blah blah blah, like we'll make it tonight. I'm like, okay, whatever. I get there and I assume she probably passed out from like drinking whatever. But long story short, like I get there,
No
like
answer,
no
nothing.
answer, like literally, like I'm there like assed out. So I'm
Oh my
like,
god.
dog. So I'm like, all right, I park in Indy. You can park on the street, so I park on the street and basically like slept there. Probably, you're not sleeping good in the car anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like probably got like after 4, and I realized like we got to record and shit. I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna go back home. So literally, like, go back home, and on my way in Ohio, there's a freeway where it's like 65 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I'm going like 75.
Yeah.
I see a cop car on the freeway. So, like, he's driving. I'm basically driving the same speed as everybody else. Like, I'm not fucking flying, obviously. Sure enough, gets behind me, turns on his lights. I'm like, dog. This is after the Friday story I just told y'all. I'm like, I took this fucking L. I shouldn't even fucking beat. Like, I literally should have stayed my black ass at home. That's all I'm thinking. So he pulls up. I roll down my window. He's like, hey, man, you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, no. He's like, well, speed limit 65. You know what you were driving? I'm like, I knew I was going over 65, but like in Michigan, we don't have no fucking freeways. I didn't say fucking. In Michigan, we don't have freeways. A 65 speed limit. He's like, all right, how's your driving record? I'm like, excellent. He's like, all right, just sit tight. Takes my license and asks me like where I'm coming from. So I'm like, honestly, officer, I just took an L. I slept in my car like I'm supposed to chill. So he's like, oh, man, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. He's like, mind if I search your vehicle? I'm like, I know I could say no, but at this point, fellas, I literally just want to get home. Like, I'm like, sure. He's like, you got anything illegal in the vehicle? He's like, marijuana. So I'm not going to lie to y'all. I do have marijuana in my fucking backpack, but I'm like, I'm not about to tell him that. So I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, any heroin? I'm like, no.
What?
He's like, got any large amounts of money? I'm like,
the
bro, I got
description
$80
for
in
a
my
heroin
wallet.
junkie.
Like, I'm like, right. I'm like, bro, like, am I getting punked right now? So I'm like, you know, no, you can search it. I don't have anything illegal. Cool. So mind you, it's raining, it's cold, it's windy. I get out. He's like, yeah, I just got to wait on somebody else to get here, and I'll search it, you know, let you on your way. Other cop gets there, so he goes in and searches my shit. I'm like, God, he's going to go through my bag. He's going to find some weed. I'm like, fuck it. At this point, I'm just gonna play it off. So he goes through. I'm talking to the other cop. He's like, "You want to sit in my SWAT car so you're out of the rain?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." Yeah. Goes through my vehicle, comes back. He's like, "I thought you didn't have any weed in the car." I'm like, "Oh shit, I definitely like." He's like, "It's fine. You're under the legal limit." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah." Gives me my stuff back. He's like, "All right, man, you're all set." Oof. I don't know how we got on the top. I think I was small talking with the other officer, but we happened to talk about how they get burnt out. I'm like, you know what? I never hear about officers talking about being burnt out from a job like everybody else, right? I'm like, what helps y'all? They both say working out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just take this in stride, keep, you know, on my health journey, whatever. But they let me go, and then that's when I sent y'all that picture like, hey, I'm on the way. This is what happened, but like I'm still going to be able to make it on time. So, Gerard, long story long, that's literally what all occurred. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know how much of this is my fucking fault, but literally, like, I'm just glad to be home. I'm glad to be home.
Well, nah, neither one of these is your fault. I thought you was being stupid. So, hearing the story, that's yeah.
Bro, I literally was sitting like. To be honest with you, I'm like, what?
I mean, you've
what
always
was
been
my
a much
part?
better friend than me because I'm not driving to Indianapolis. Like, so, like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Like,
Gerard, the crazy part is the whole time I'm like, dog, nah, like, I'm like, let's meet in Fort Wayne. Like, I don't even care. Like, I just need you to like meet me somewhere. But she, yep, you just try to be nice.
Am
man.
I allowed to ask? Did you think you were getting some poontang pie?
I know I was.
Oh, all right,
like
all
that.
right.
Like
hey,
it was worth it then.
It was a fact.
Like that was at least like it wasn't even that. That wasn't even ride. Like it was the like we supposed to get like pizza, like talk, like massage. Like it's just gonna be a decent night. But yep, took an L. Literally, yeah. I haven't talked to her yet. I'm in my mind. I'm like, should I block her? Should I cuss her the fuck out? Like,
bro, if you got a dude coming, that's crazy. That's I for sure would block her.
Yep.
I for sure would block her.
You only get one chance for a long distance
and
trip.
I'm pretty sure the box is crazy, but still, no, I'll take it. Yeah.
And the craziest part, this isn't like you know like somebody I just met. Like we've known each other for like this ain't like no random. Like this is a person I've known and basically
if I know you for that long too, I'm for sure blocking you, dog.
So all this is going through my head. When I got pulled over, I'm like, you can't make this shit up. Like I just took an L, now I'm getting pulled over, just trying to go home. And mind you, I had been actually driving in the 90s and 100, like at certain points on this drive. So to get pulled over for 75, I'm like, nah, like the big man upstairs just is clearly a fucking comedian because ain't no way. Like, I get a parking ticket for being somewhere 2 minutes and not it, but I didn't get a ticket, thankfully. And in my mind, all I could think of was a Jay-Z line, like, you know, like you're not about to legally search my, yeah. But in my mind, I'm like, bro, I don't want to make this complicated. He can search my shit. I don't have anything. Like, I just want to go home. That's all. I just like that's all. I'm like, bro, I just want to go home. Then I'm like, I know the fella's gonna ask me about this, and in my mind, I'm like,
just tell him the
there's
truth.
a part of me that's like pissed off. That's like, why the fuck did you drive to Indianapolis? But like,
hey, I'll admit on the pod, I've driven to Columbus before to get some poontang, so you know.
dude.
Yeah, that was back in
Like,
the Malibu days, Gerard. That thing took me everywhere.
A positive did come out of it. I got to listen to some good things. I actually like driving. So like, you know, I'm just trying to focus on the positives, but like the nigga side in me dry. I want to get ignorant, but it's like, nah, you had too much growth. Like
the L is an L. It ain't no point of getting ignorant now. You know
that's how I'm like,
yeah.
Hey, just take your L. It happens to the best of us, whether we want to admit it or not. But like, nah, bro.
You want to hear some advice that I live by to this day? Home is safe. That's all I'll say. Home is safe.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
True. So Friday, I'm already, after getting that ticket, I'm like, you know what? I just need to stay my black ass at home.
You save money at
Then
home.
After getting pulled over, after taking this L, I'm like, you know what? I really just need to stay my black ass at home. Like, none of this happens if I don't. Mind you, the last few days, I've been like chilling, vibing at the house. I haven't really had a reason to leave. I'm like, you know what? I want to get out of my comfort zone.
The weather got to you.
Weather getting better. You know, you've been in the house all winter. Nah, man. You know what? Just keep your black ass at home. Maybe that's the episode of the name of the episode, Drew. Just keep your black ass at home.
It's so funny because while you were telling these, like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna insert that Jay-Z line when he's talking about getting searched. I was like, then I was thinking of the title already. I'm like, we had the one. It might have been a year ago. Like, are people still getting rickrolled in 2025? I was like, are people still taking dummies in 2025?
Right.
Man, look, L's like.
I for sure, like in my mind, I already thought this was a dummy. And then when you told the story, I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. I have some empathy for B because like he ain't like that wasn't
fucked.
a dummy.
Yeah,
like
both
that's
situations
somebody played
fucked.
him. Yeah. So,
bro, the
I
whole
blocked
time
Mike too while you're at it. Shout out, Mike.
Bro, the whole time I'm like, I know I'm not here, and it's like, imagine getting to somebody's fucking apartment and you,
bro. No, I know. Bro, that number would have been blocked so fast. Don't call me no more. Like, I don't care what you're going through. Like, nah, like, that's crazy.
And a part of me, I'm like, you know what? She wake up, whatever, like, I could still. And then I'm like, no, like, nigga, like, go the fuck home. Like, no, like, block the.
All those thoughts, yeah.
Nope.
So.
You were in Fort Wayne, you said?
No, I went to Indianapolis. My proposal was, okay, I'll try to Fort Wayne, but I did mention Fort Wayne.
Gotcha.
That was where I was like, let's just meet there. But
I missed that. My bad.
No, you are good.
When I said that last night, I was like, are you going to get Poontang or meet Halliburton? And you know what, Gerard? I was thinking, I was like, there's only two people in Indiana. It's him and Freddie Gibbs. Like, that's what I was about to say. Are you going to meet Freddie?
Dude, I could have been better off
Freddie and Gary, he would have been the whole other way if he was going. Like,
I'd been better off.
Don't nobody go to Gary, so
just to visit Michael Jackson's old house. I was like, maybe B's doing that. He likes history trips sometimes, you know.
I would have been better off fucking going to the original Texas Roadhouse and just coming back home, and that'd have been better than what the fuck I just experienced.
Get some of those biscuits.
Anywho. Happy belated 4-year anniversary, fellas.
Oh, yeah. Happy
4 years.
Great way to start.
Wild. That's wild. 4 years is crazy.
What a journey.
Yeah.
And I couldn't ask for two better bros to do it with. Super pause. So, man, what a fucking...
This is
what a weekend.
episode 167, I believe. So, yeah, we've been grinding for 4 years.
We've been grinding.
Sir.
Let's see.
And I had a question I was going to start off with before the craziness of this weekend. I was going to ask y'all, the hell is a boiled peanut? But then I'm gonna save that because obviously y'all know why I asked that question. Mm-hmm. So I did have another question though. Just thinking of our 4 years and the reason why we started this. Question off the dome for both of y'all. How at the press. I was curious. Can you be on the hip hop Mount Rushmore without a legitimate beef or wager versus a competent opponent? Now the reason I'm asking y'all this is because I don't want to beat a dead horse. But something seems to be missing when you think about J. Cole and him mentioning himself within the big three. Mm-hmm. And it's just something eating at me. Like, the whole, like, I was ready, would have won, blah, blah, but, like, we went, Gerard, personally, we went down the line of, like, how many times he's done this whole, like, I want the beef, nah. But when you think about everybody that's considered, the consensus Mount Rushmore, you got Hove, you got Nas, M, Biggie, Tupac, all of them got legitimate beefs against, legit opponents. Only person I couldn't think of, or the only two, you got Andre 3000, but no he hasn't had a solo album, but he's like one of the most lovable people ever. So, outlier. But like, Future technically hasn't had a legitimate beef.
Who I was thinking.
But he's been involved. He's been involved in drama with Rocco and was a part of like the beginning of the Drake.
I don't think the mini beefs count. I think a real beef is like when the actual diss tracks are being sent back and forth. That's a real beef.
Yeah,
like the little.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
The talking shit like Kanye. All right, 50 Cent and all those people back in the day. Like every week was a new beef with him. Like I consider Ja Rule his beef.
Right. So you got 50. You got even Gucci. You got Drake, Kendrick, Big Sean. I was like, he's never really had an official.
He never had a battle.
But like.
Nope.
There's been like minor jabs technically with certain things, but like never official beef. But then you think of like LL Cool J, Ice Cube, Snoop, even Common, all have at least have one. And it's like, like, what do y'all think about that? Because I literally was thinking like, I feel like that's the only thing arguably missing from J. Cole's, resume. And that's why it's even more annoying that he backed out of the situation. But then I'm like, okay, I think this would be a great discussion point. So
if we're looking at it from a hip hop point of view, one of the cornerstones of hip hop is the battle. So I think you have to, if you want to be considered one of the greats, you have to have at least a battle. You have to have a battle like with someone because you have to show competition. Like, you can't just say I'm the best MC if you've never put that skill to work. Like, you have to show if you are the best MC. So in order for me to consider you as one of the Mount Rushmore of MCs, rappers, whatever, you have to have a battle under your belt. So with J. Cole, yes, you can say on a track all day long like I'm the best, this, that, and the other. But when it came to battle, you always nowhere to be found, like that's somebody said that can't remember who it was, but if a boxer was saying I'm the best boxer and then when it's time to fight for like a title contention,
I think that was the analogy I used when we last discussed J. Cole.
Like you can't do that.
You're not actually getting in the ring, but you basically on the sideline saying, if I was in there, I would like.
No, you can't do that.
That's easy to say, right. And like I mention this because despite how you look. Regardless of what side you're on, when it comes to Kendrick, when it comes to Drake, like, end of the day, they both risk something. And it's like, that's the thing that I feel like, okay, J. Cole, even when you released that song about Kanye, like, he hasn't really risked anything. And the one time he did it, he took the, I don't want to take this where it's going to go. And it's like, okay, that's cool. If that's how you really felt, all right, Freddie Gibbs, shit, we was just talking about him. He's sending shots. Hey, you and Freddie Gibbs can keep it strictly on wax, as Gerard would say. Like, all right, like, hop in the booth.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to get that. So it's like, we keep mentioning the big three, and I feel like Drake, Kendrick are there. Cole, with his talent, is obviously at the top, but it's like, there's just like an asterisk to me. Like, you've never had that battle. Every time you've gotten in that situation, you bowed out for whatever reason you felt was justified, but it's like it just feels like something's missing.
Yeah.
So I was curious, and I'm thinking of our anniversary and why this all started. Like this would be something I would ask y'all at a house party, and we would debate it. So it's like I really was curious, like if y'all thought that was accurate or not, or like how y'all felt about it in general.
It's hard to.
I agree.
It's hard.
I agree. 100%.
It's hard to say this now though, but like if Drake and Kendrick never got into that kerfuffle, as Gerard would say last year, do you think you'd feel the same about this topic, or would you just consider them still all big three goats?
That's a great question, Drew. I think I still would feel the same way. I think for the longest, it wasn't a fact of whether Kendrick was ducking smoke. It was if anybody was willing to really challenge him because of like how those view like anybody would get massacred. Drake, we've seen whether it was Pusha T, whether it was Joe Budden, whether it was Meek, like whether he won or lost, like he's had no problem, taking on opponents. I feel like that's something that's overlooked. Like, yeah, he took an L to Kendrick. I still don't think it's over just based on, Kendrick sends some shots and Drake still sending shots, but still.
Oh, it's over. They just they'll continue to send shots to each other.
For the rest of their careers.
It's not going to be full out diss tracks. That's never going to happen. They're going to keep talking to each other. Like, so.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, like, I do think I still would have asked this question, Drew, because the only difference would have been who was Kendrick's, opponent or what was his beef, quote unquote. But like, there's never been a doubt, like he'll hop in the motherfucking ring and box with anybody. Yeah. We don't have any proof of that with J. Cole. We have proof of the opposite. So I almost feel like we keep talking about Big Three, but it's almost like a Big Two. Mm-hmm. And it seems like J. Cole's more closer to Big Sean. Because Big Sean's, sent subliminals and X, Y, and Z, but, like, he hasn't had official beef. So it's like
no one's hearing him, though, when he does it.
Right.
But,
so
that's the thing with Sean. Yeah. I think Sean would get active.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's never a worthy opponent for him to do that with. Like, so I think Sean would have did it with Kendrick, but he wanted to. That Sean is his issue is he's too thoughtful. So he like. I want to make sure this is where we at before I shoot at you. It's like, bro, do you ask somebody 3 times, you really want to fight? You really want to fight before you throw the fucking
right. And I feel like both of them, like, it was almost one of those, I feel like both of them was ready to go. Like, what was it? What song was that where people speculated whether Kendrick sent a shot at Control. Yeah, like, after that, I thought it was pretty, assumed that it was going to be a beef, but I'm pretty sure Big Sean reached out and like
Big Sean reached out and said like he asked them like, is it really beef?
Temperature check, temperature check. But like it wasn't I could never see Big Sean releasing the song and then being like,
Like, so I would rather. So that's what I'm saying. I would rather Big Sean's approach. Like if you really need confirmation to actually reach out to the people to see what the issue is, instead of Cole releasing the record and then taking it back. Like so.
Yeah. So. But speaking of Big Sean, I wanted to add, like, blog era rappers are kind of confirming in my eyes just, like, how amazing that time of hip-hop was. Yeah. The way they're rapping lately, like, Wiz Khalifa has me more excited for Kush and OJ with his rollout. Like, I feel like that's the biggest takeaway with the Kendrick and Drake beef. Like, it's almost like it inspired or reminded, like, the masses of, like, hip-hop is a sport, but also, like, get in the booth, dog. Like, Wiz just been freestyling. He ain't been doing no, crazy commercials. Literally just freestyling over everybody's shit and doing like we used to talk about the old mixtapes back in the day. Yeah. So I love that rollout.
I do too.
But yeah, that was something that was on my mind, and I wrote it down on my notes. So
me and Mike were talking at Ballby. I just hope that the new album reflects. It gives nostalgia like Kush and OJ, and it still has what he's been doing lately with these freestyles. I hope it. Yeah. If it's lackluster, dude, I'm like, dude, please stop making part 2s to classic albums. I'm so sick of that. If it's a dud, though, but we'll see.
Honestly, I'm just excited. Like, I love everything about what he's been doing.
Especially it's Easter weekend and 420s the next day. What?
True. Literally, my next notes was second night of WrestleMania this year being on 420.
That's
so
wild.
Bro, I almost feel like we might have to get together and watch. Like, that'd just be a great time. But no, I'm loving it. You said
I
what?
might be down for that because WrestleMania is 2 nights now, which is crazy.
2 nights, and man, you can't ask for more. But yeah, thank you guys for that. Let's get into Did You Knows. Like I said, second night WrestleMania being at 420. Did want to take time to pay respects to the legendary magician Roy Ayers. Passed away at 84. Always cherished his contributions to music. Most known for the song "Everybody Loves the Sunshine." So again, R.I.P. On the opposite, happy birthday, Tyler the Creator. He turned 34 since we last recorded. Also, speaking of birthdays, since we last recorded, there was the 20th anniversary of 50 Cent's sophomore album, The Massacre. Reminded me of my anger because of, we talk about 50 Cent, we talk about his trolling X, Y, and Z, but like, to have given away the songs that he did that should have been on his own shit, like, the game,
Imagine if How We Do was on that album. Just that song alone would have,
The game should, as time has passed and you look back and reflect, as nice as, was a documentary or West Side Story, like, the game owes so much to 50 Cent, and even with 50 Cent being a troll and, like, going at it with everybody, like, one thing he doesn't do anymore is, like, he could easily be like, yo, like, game without me, like, you wouldn't be shit. And when they was beefing, he kind of said some things, but, like, as much as he goes after people, he still is arguably way more humble than he should be based on what he did for the game, just giving him shit that should have been his. Massacre sold 1.15 million copies in its first 4 days, despite leaking early. Still the third largest first week debut in hip-hop. Album was originally supposed to include songs like Hate It or Love It, Higher, How We Do, Special. But again, 50 gave him the game. Was nominated for Best Rap Album in 2006. At the Grammys, actually, but lost to Kanye. And the first major artist to do a music video for every song on the album.
That shit was so fire, bro.
Gerard, did you buy it opening
concept,
weekend?
Yeah, I did.
Same.
I bought it first weekend. So, yeah, that shit was so fire. And then I remember the rollout where he did a video for every song on the album. Like, that shit was, like, I love that shit. I had never seen that before, so that was so cold when he did.
Let's ask B a trivia question, and we'll gain him points towards being a sensei. Do you know what it was originally supposed to be called?
I vaguely remember hearing the name, but offhand, I definitely don't remember.
Go ahead, Gerard. You can have this one.
It was supposed to be called Valentine's Day Massacre. Right?
Yeah, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It was supposed to come out Valentine's Day.
It was supposed to come out on Valentine's Day.
It got pushed.
Oh, I did not know that.
The beginning track, that's why he's like unloading on like a room full of people and just
so a playoff of what was it, Al Capone?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a fire intro when you think about it.
So imagine he releases it when he should have Valentine's Day. Imagine he doesn't give away Hate It or Love It, How We Do, Higher, Special, like. But and he's already legend. Like you can't take anything away.
Even with all of that, the album is still great.
It's still
with all of those
hits.
songs taken away.
Yeah.
So like that's the crazy part about it. You had to understand what type of like mode he was in at that time to make so much music that was so really good at that time, and to give 6-7 songs away to Redacted. You know,
like
that could have been his third album.
Yeah.
You know one thing we don't recognize enough. People like Tony Yayo, right, who is more of a street dude than a rapper, but like at the same time, never bit the hand that fed him, right? Like, always show love to 50. And I'm not saying you supposed to be like had this blind faith towards people, right? But at the same time, like, a really good trait to have is knowing when like it's okay to be cool with being number 2. Like. A lot of times you see the ego, and you know Tony Yayo.
He was cool being number 5.
It's like Tony Yayo even to this day, like goes on Vlad, knows 50 Cent don't like it, but like still will like never cross the line of like he'll tell stuff about himself, but like just the loyalty aspect. We talked about how Jim Jones and Joel switched up on Cameron, like. Just to see somebody in the limelight like Tony Yayo never switch up. Shit, even Lloyd Banks and 50 like had they run it, but like I just appreciate the fact that I think I've seen on Twitter, like, you know, Yayo just knows his role and he's cool with that. Like Never let ego get in the way. And like I said, if anybody was supposed to act like that, it should have been Game, but neither here nor there,
I follow
man.
Yayo on Facebook. He opened up a dispo in Jersey, I believe it is. But
really?
Yeah, I want to go one day. It looks sweet.
Tell me Yayo is like really, like even with his interviews, like he's a funny dude, but you could tell like he's just cool being himself. He don't try to be.
Ever since he got out, like I wish he was on that Beg for Mercy album because he actually would have added to that album. It would have been a little better. But he's been, like you said, like he'll still go on interviews and like scream out G Unit and shit. Like that's loyal because they haven't been a thing in 20-something years.
Yeah, man. Hey, shout out. It just ain't a lot of loyalty in the game like that, so I appreciate that. 13 years ago, Wiz Khalifa released his mixtape, Taylor Out of Dice, hosted by Rob Markman. Actually mentioned listening to that last year, and was a really good project, arguably up there with Kush and OJ. So shout out to Wiz again. Don Toliver's Love Sick and Hearthstone Psycho are now both RIAA certified gold after selling 500+ thousand units. Also, shout out to Billie Eilish. I know y'all love y'all girl. Has officially been crowned the #1 biggest artist born in the 21st century by Billboard.
Dang.
Wow.
Speaking of Billboard, Dolce has been named Billboard's Woman of the Year for 2025. More on Dolce later. A$AP Rocky's LVL had his biggest day ever last week on Spotify. Several of his songs are currently seeing a surge in popularity. I assume probably after his case, but like, I'm not gonna lie. He just him getting no charges off of what he was going. I'm excited for the album again. He reeled me back in. If we ever get it, cool. But like, really? I just love everything I'm seeing with A$AP Rocky right now. Jid announced new album coming soon. He said it's done. It's turned in. It's coming really fucking soon. So looking forward to that. 2 Chainz and Static Selecta have a new album coming out in 2025. Known features is Lil Wayne, Westside Gunn, Larry June, Mary J. Blige, and CeeLo Green. Looking forward to that. Russ tweeted out, "Wow, my 6th album, Spring Summer 2025. I actually look forward to that." And Will Smith announced his first album in 20 years, based on a true story, out on March 28th. Wild. I'm looking forward to that. So hey, like I said, I feel like the whole a lot of heavy hitters is deciding to put out the music. So I think it's gonna be a great year. Lastly, Southside and Wheezy are currently finishing Future's new album and are actually waiting on The Alchemist to send over some beats. This comes after The Alchemist tweeted out that he would love to work with Pluto. So, again, cannot wait for that. During the Oscars, Adam Sandler was wearing Curry 11's championship mindset. So some random shoes. I don't know if y'all seen him. Literally was dressed like he was getting ready for a pickup game. But due to the immediate demand for the shoe after Sandler's performance, Under Armour and the Curry brand will re-release these sneakers in limited quantities. Actually, this was the previous week, so they were already released and probably sold out. I just thought that was super dope. Speaking of the Oscars, a new Kendrick Lamar comedy movie titled Whitney Springs is coming out July the 11th on Paramount Plus. Says a black man interning as a slave reenactor at a living history museum finds out that his white girlfriend's ancestors once owned his.
You know who created
directed
it?
By
I was going to say, you know who made it with him?
Yeah, directed by Trey Parker, the creator of South Park. That just sounds like it's going to be funny as fuck. So I really can't wait.
That's a wild premise.
It sounds like you borderline can't say that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great movie to get caught up to, so I cannot wait for that. Jimmy Johnson has announced his retirement from Fox after 30 years. Crazy to believe. Watching Fox without him, that I literally since damn near we've been born, he has been on TV, so that's crazy. Happy Gilmore 2 has officially gotten its release date, which will be July 25th on Netflix.
You know who directed it, B? Kyle from Workaholics. Yeah,
really?
He's been off their pod for a long time because he's been working on it, and he finally revealed that that's what he was doing.
Bro, you know what's really cool? Like random people that'll be on TV shows finding out like they're like not only like writers but like directors. I've been watching. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Martin episode I think where he was at the DMV.
The DMV, yeah.
And dude kept calling him Almody. Almody. So that dude was actually a writer on the show and explained like the only reason he did that was because Martin came in one day, was upset, and he put on that voice to like kind of either make him laugh or basically pick up his spirits. And Martin's genius recognized that and told him like, yo, like you really need to do this on the show. And he was like, hell no, I ain't doing that. He's like, bro, like y'all wrote me to be Janae, like just do it. And he got on the scene, and that the rest is history. But also, the same guy created or helped create the Jamie Foxx show, and discussed like till this day, him nor Jamie Foxx have gotten any. They've gotten checks from like the what is it, the Writers Guild and like that part, but from the actual show,
nope.
The like studios
they didn't own the show, so you don't get syndication.
The studio is claiming they still haven't broke even to be able to receive that.
Yep.
I'm calling bullshit though, because based on how often you see that show, how long it's been, I don't see the budget being super high.
I don't see how they didn't break even, because Jamie Foxx is one of my favorite shows, so I know I've been watching that shit a lot. So I don't, but
it just don't add up.
It don't make sense to me.
I just found that, sorry, Drew, long-winded way of saying, like, to hear how Kyle's, invested in that, hear how a guy on, a random funny scene from Martin was actually behind the scenes of two big shows. Right. So I just thought that was super cool. So shout out to Kyle from Workaholics. Stephen A. Smith signed a 5-year, $100 million contract with ESPN. New agreement will begin to scale back Stephen A.'s appearances on First Take and NBA Countdown, freeing his schedule up in order for him to talk more about politics.
Oh, boy.
Whether you hate him or love him, I did want to recognize him for changing the game, securing a bag not just for himself, but journalists and future generations to come. Yeah. Didn't have this in my notes, but I did want to ask y'all, obviously been a lot of talk about what happened between him and LeBron. I have my views on it. I'm sure you guys have your views on it, but one thing I wanted to mention, I keep hearing these takes like, Bronny not supposed to get criticized, and like, Bron did it for attention in front of everybody. I just feel like a term that Gerard always says, like, we're losing the plot. I feel like, or we're getting away from the plot. I don't understand Stephen A. going on this press tour and talking about, LeBron's got my number, Rich Paul's got my number. If they wanted to talk, could have called me out or flew out, right? But at the same time, Bron, in my opinion, I don't think Bron had a problem with Bronny being criticized. I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was a segment where Stephen A. did like this zoom in, like LeBron, father, or man to man, you gotta stop this. Like please stop putting Bronny, like almost like LeBron is the reason why JJ Redick's deciding to put Bronny in games when the game is like in the fourth quarter.
Right.
It's just really weird, and I feel like that was something that was not needed. And in my opinion, yes, Bron could have made calls, blah, 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 but we've gotten so far into the, hot take and debating and X, Y, and Z, like, there's a certain line, in my opinion, you should not cross. And I think LeBron handled this shit in the right way. I don't think he was being a dad that was defending, his son that could defend himself. LeBron, we've seen for, 22 years now, face criticism. Don't bother him, Skip Bayless, whatever. But you saw when he pulled up on Stephen A. Smith, he said, hey, leave my son out of this shit. I didn't have any problem with what he did, to be honest with you. I feel like Bron was standing on business. Stephen A., if you want to use your platform and knowing your platform, you making your comments public, also being on record saying, hey, I'm at the games. If you got a problem with me, come up to me. Yep. Bron did just that. People say, hey, it reminded me of Will Smith. I don't think he took it that far.
No.
He went up to him, man to man, and in his face. And I think people forget. You can get on TV and say whatever you want. In real life, Bron is 6'8", 6'9", 260. Yeah. A very intimidating motherfucking person. Like, so you can have all this energy on TV, but the point I'm trying to make is if you're going to use your platforms and you're going to take it, a certain way for ratings, blah, 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 you have to remember we take emotions out of sports a lot of times. Like, Bron seen him at the game, pulled up on him, and told him exactly how he felt. You don't have to worry about taking things out of context, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, cameras caught it, but look, at the end of the day, Bron had a problem with you, brought it to your front door. Stephen A. had all the opportunity to say what the fuck he wanted in person. Guess what he did? Took his fucking L and sat his bitch ass down. Like, I just feel like we see so much on TV with the hot takes, and it's like, bro, it's not that you can't criticize these players. I think anybody that criticizes Bronny, I think Bron throughout all the years probably has criticized him more just knowing how Bron is. But it's like, there's a line you don't cross. He brought it to his front door. We always talk about on site. Motherfuckers must have forgot what on site meant. Like, hey, we saw him handle and talked about what the fuck he wanted to. And Stephen A. is taking it and running with it. But I just want to ask y'all, how did y'all feel about how LeBron handled that? And do you feel like Bron took it too far, or do you feel like, hey, he did what he needed to do?
I thought he did what he needed to do. And I didn't understand where Stephen A. was coming from about a two-way G League player, the 55 overall pick.
Right.
Like, what critique could you possibly have to give? Because I don't see you critiquing nobody else. And if you're going off the thing that LeBron's saying, oh, Bronny better than half these dudes out here, that's a father. Of course a father is going to say that. Like, okay, so you can hold LeBron against the fire. You said your son was better. He didn't get drafted into the second round, so obviously we know that we're not. Mm-hmm. I think people are being obtuse intentionally just to say something about LeBron. Like, you it's 22 years in the game. You can't say nothing. He's one of the greatest players of all time. So you really can't nitpick him. So the next possible step we can go to really get at Bron is to say, look at his son. And I think Stephen A. was full of shit going on this world tour telling how he thought it was bitch made what Brian did. No, it was bitch made that y'all have to find. You're smarter. Stephen A. is smarter than what he does, like, for entertainment on TV. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew that if you mentioned Bron or Bronny, what the ratings would do, like, people would watch it. And then, like, you're being, like, so extra dramatic when you talking about, like, I'm pleading to you as a father. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, man, I would have felt disrespected too, and I would have came up to you too and said, yo, we aren't friends. We aren't cool. You mad if we don't have a relationship. That has nothing to do with my son.
Right.
Don't put my son in the middle of this. Like, oh, and then I saw him on Gil's Arena, like, yeah, I saw Bronny's face and he looked at me. He looked like a sad puppy. Like, you trying to do anything. Your power is your words and stuff. So now you're going on a tour just using your words because you could, in that moment you froze up because you didn't think Bron was gonna come to you. You like that and all that shit you be talking on your shows, like, I'm outside. Y'all can always pull up to me. Well, when somebody was in your face after you signed that contract, you put your money where your mouth is and you sat your dumb ass down like you should have. Anybody else done the same thing. Dwayne Wade and Allen Iverson all have a relationship with Stephen A. Mm-hmm. And they both called him and said, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, you can't do that to people's kids. So, talking about people's kids and think nobody's going to come up to you. Regardless if Bronny is a NBA player or not, you have to treat him according to where he is in the pecking order. He's a two-way G League player. So if you're talking about Bronny, you need to talk about everybody that was drafted before him and after him the same way. And he doesn't get that same type of scrutiny because he's LeBron's son. And that's the issue that I have. And I hate that people, like, keep talking about LeBron is whining and stuff like that. Y'all, I seen a lot of you niggas. A lot of you niggas go crazy at your middle school son's game, and your sons be ass too. So don't talk about that. Like, let's not do that. So that's the shit I be talking about. People say a lot of shit on social media and don't really be believing the shit they be saying. Like, I'm the same way about my kids. I'm stepping for mine, so I feel LeBron. So,
Drew, that was well put. I couldn't have put it any better. Drew, I want to give you a chance though. I don't know if you've been able to see some of the stuff or like how your actual. So what's your views?
I hate Stephen A. man, and I've hated him for a long time. Just everything is for shock value. Like Gerard was saying, you're talking about a second round guy. Like, no other team gets scrutinized for taking these second round bus players. The fact that it's Bron's son, just adds an extra spotlight to it. But Bron handled it how he should have. He didn't go on a lie tour like a press conference, ranting and raving about it. He handled it how he should have. The thing I really hate is how Stephen A. says something, and the next day he comes on and does like a 50-minute monologue, just boo-hoo me, boo-hoo. But, like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, who are you at this point? Like you said, B, when Bron confronted him, he looked like he could have eaten Stephen A. Like, his whole frame, like, shadowed out. Like, who the fuck are you really talking to at this point? Bron will end you in, like, a second. It's just...
And that's the point I was trying to get to is, like, you see some wild shit about, like, even... video-wise, I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but LeBron was walking to the locker room tunnel one time, and a random woman was like, LeBron, how does it feel to be a punk-ass bitch? I remember
that, and he checked her.
It's like, bro, there's a sense of, like, even with Kevin Durant, I don't know if y'all seen it, but, like, people were, like, There's two fans that was talking shit about him, and then he pulled up on him, and they reaching out for a handshake. It's like, bro, don't get it twisted. Like, I think that's what keyboard warriors and social media has taught people. Like, you can say whatever you want, ain't no consequences. That's why, like, when we talk about certain artists, anything I say on a podcast, I keep it to a point where it's like, if I was face to face with these guys, I would articulate and say the same things to them, because I'm not going to get behind a camera. I'm not going to get behind a Twitter account, start talking crazy, because at a certain point, you're going to run into somebody that's going to check you. Like, that's exactly what happened. Bron pulled up on, honestly, I think Bron was more respectful than he could have been. Like, yeah, he was like, that's my fucking son, keep him out of it. But, like, he still kept it tactful to a certain point. But at the same time, like I said, like, Stephen A., like, if you're going to you wanted to have a private, behind-the-scenes conversation, because at the end of the day, you could apologize. You could have said, you know, hey, didn't mean to, blah, blah, blah. But when you're in public, if you're going to do these things on a public platform, if you're going to do the zoom in, knowing how many people are going to see that, you should have that same energy when it's time to apologize in public. And that's the biggest thing with me. It's like, okay, you can get on. You know, you if you're on ESPN and you're shitting on a player, which he's done with Kwame Brown, he's done with X, Y, and Z, like, don't all of a sudden want people to reach behind the scenes and you know, you get to apologize and then not be in the public light. So, no, he got what he deserved. And you can go on the press tour, you can go on Gil's Arena and, you know, wear a black button-down dress shirt with the chain, like you part of, you know, fucking what was it? Suge Knight, Death Row. Like, that's all I could think about. I'm like, bro, don't be on this big shit now talking about, you could have called me and I'd have flew to California and meet. Nah. If you got that same energy, you always talking about people talking to you when they got a problem. Where was all that shit when Brian pulled up on you? Nowhere.
Something basketball games a year. You could have told me, shut the fuck up.
Okay, cool.
Ask Melo.
Brian saw him.
Yeah.
You saw the bull-like mentality, like he saw red, went up to him.
Bro, Melo and Wade have more respect for Brian than Stephen A. Like, come on now.
That's my ultimate takeaway. And you hear people saying, "Oh, Brian just wanted attention, so he did it in public."
Nah.
But also,
do you realize Brian didn't need no fucking?
Shout out to Marquise.
Oh yeah,
Boys. All right, you know he don't get enough credit for being a security guy. He knew exactly what Brian was about to do, and went right there. It was like, nah, I gotta hold my brother down. You know,
Brian don't lose no endorsements. You know. Like, yo, you made your point.
Hey, he tried to stop Brian. Like, yo, not right now. We got after the game. Like, he was like, Brian, like, no, right now. He's like, all right, well, fuck it, right.
But again, like you said, like, we got to see a part of Brian that we never, like, Brian's a dad, bro. Like, I can't even imagine. You've been in the spotlight. You get the chance to have your son come to the league. First off, people was hating on that. Now, like, nitpicking everything. And mind you, when he actually does play in the G League games, he don't look out of place, bro. Like, he is balling. And you even see it now when they put him in games. And mind you, my biggest thing with Stephen A. was acting like Bron was the fucking coach and decided to put Bronny in the game. Like, JJ Redick decided to put Bronny in the games. Why? Because he's looked so good in the G League. So it's like, okay, let's get you some experience.
He's a G League player. What expectations are you having?
Exactly.
That's the issue that I'll be having when people talk about Bronny. Like, he wasn't a lottery pick. You shouldn't expect him to get in the game and start like hooping like that. He's a developmental player, which is why he's in the G League. He's on a two-way contract. So when he gets in the game, yes, he got to shake some rust off. He got to take some shots to like get involved. That's what happens. Or Pistons, we have G League players that come in on two ways, and they in the fourth quarter they getting shots up. They look erratic. That's what they're supposed to do. You have to get game conditioning. Man. So, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And why would you not want to reward a G League player that's been playing well with actual minutes? It ain't like this motherfucker is starting Bronny. Like, Bronny's getting in the fourth quarter of blowout games that's been decided. Mind you, he was in the Denver game, two or 3 days ago? Flashed a 3 over Jokic. Like, to treat Bronny like he's some Make-A-Wish kid because Bron just like, bro, Bronny had cardiac arrest. Yes. And literally, like, is a walking miracle. But at the same time, like, before all that shit happened, he could hoop. Like, he was on the court in high school hooping. Like,
McDonald's All-American, elite high school player. Like, so, yes, when Bron made that statement saying, like, my son is better than half of the league, at that point in time, Bronny was one of the best high school players out. So I get where LeBron's mind was. Literally, when he went to USC, before he can even start the summer, he had a cardiac arrest. Was out majority of the year. A cardiac arrest, if you all don't know, your heart stops. The boy literally died on the court, and they had to resuscitate him. So yes, he has to build up his confidence. Bronny is going to be okay. You know, like, I don't understand why people are expecting. I don't know what their expectations are. They thought that Bronny's supposed to come in the league and be John Morant. Like, this is
he's already
stupid.
done more than what Jordan's sons did.
Bro, like such a great point, and we can obviously talk about this way more, but like, I just wanted to recognize LeBron. I wanted to talk about it. You've seen a lot of hot takes, but like, I don't have an issue with what LeBron did, and I feel like we've seen Tony Snell literally have all goosters across the board in 32 minutes of gameplay. Didn't see Stephen A. asking the coach at that time to please remove, Tony Snell from what do we like? Yes, it's low hanging fruit. He's taking shots at LeBron's son because, like you said, at this point, ain't nothing you really could say about LeBron himself. Mm-hmm. So no, Stephen A. got what he deserved, and no, I don't think violence or anything was necessary. But like, no, like, there's a time and a place, boundaries you don't cross, and Stephen A. got checked. It's okay. I took an L, talked about when we first started. Stephen A. gonna take his L, move on, and that's how I see it. Yeah. Dana White and TKO Holdings have joined forces with Turkey Sheikh to form a brand new boxing promotion. It's quoted as the best fight the best. You work your way up the rankings. You don't need 3 letters in front of the belt. Whoever has the belt, it is the best in the world in that weight class. And this is via Ring Magazine. I think this is super exciting. We keep hearing about the best fighters, but like, ever since Floyd, and I think we've talked about it a little bit, like, everybody wants to be undefeated so much that certain people aren't fighting the best and certain people are ducking. Like, we need to get rid of that. So I think this is a step in the right direction. Gerard, I know you're a huge boxing fan. I was curious how you felt about it.
This is dope. I just need to see how it looks first. It's a great idea and concept, but you know how fighters are. They don't, like, unless they, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Make them fight each other, then people still gonna be ducking each other because the fear of losing. So
no,
it's
absolutely,
Floyd fought. So I just want to see how it looks, but in theory, it's a great idea, and I can't wait. Like, Dana White always had that same mind frame. What he did with the UFC, the best fight the best.
I was gonna say, in the UFC, there ain't no ducking. Like, you either gotta fight the best or you gotta give that belt the fuck up.
Back, right.
So I appreciate that, but no, hopefully it's a step in the right direction. But without further ado, let's get into what we've listened to, watched, and or played. I want to start off by letting you guys
what we listened to.
Yeah.
Touch on pause. Dolce. Let's get that out the way first, unless that was on what you watched or whatever.
Oh, it was, but yeah, we could touch on that for sure.
Wait,
actually,
were you out of Nuggets?
Yeah, that was my. Did you have
the only
did
one
you
I
have
had is To Pimp a Butterfly turned 10 yesterday.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good one, Drew. Salute to that. Gerard, you mentioned a great point. Watching, and we discussed in our group chat, for those who don't know, Dolce was on, was it Hot Wings?
It was on Hot
asked,
Wings, yeah.
Hot Ones, and was asked the biggest red flag to her when it comes to dating, and her answer was a man being heterosexual.
She didn't say it like that. She said straight man. You could have just said that.
Straight man of being straight. And on one hand, I know she was trolling, but at the same time, and I saw something recently. Anthony Mackie, not to combine the two, but Anthony Mackie has been getting a lot of flack on social media for his interview where he says that he feels America has been working on, how do you put it?
Demasculating the man.
Yeah, demasculating the American man over the past, I think, 20 years or so. And he talked about the way that he raises his sons. Long story short, he talks about he never bought his kids Jordans. Basically taught them to value, like, how to treat people, saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, and, like, went down along lines of, like, when he leaves the house, his kids were always put in charge, blah, blah, blah. People are upset about that, and I feel like it relates to the point I want to make about Dolce, what you said. Obviously, again, she was trolling. And Dry, you made great points when you mentioned how, because she's actually bi, and I think you mentioned she has a girlfriend, her point makes sense. But on the other hand, my point was, having this platform and in my eyes a red flag, and you made a good point too, like everybody's entitled to what a red flag should be, but being realistic, like a red flag should be like
attributes and
attributes, like actual things. And I think from a wider perspective, my annoyance comes from we have all these podcasts and it's like people control and whatnot, but having a platform like that, like a red flag is actually supposed to be something like a person can control. And that was my annoyance, I guess, with the situation. But again, they were laughing, so it's not like she was completely serious. And I'm not going to act, obtuse, but like it just, as a single man and dating, we have a lot of people that have more influence than they really understand. And a lot of people are taking some of this dumb shit that is like trolling or whatnot, but like the masses are almost like really aligning with some of the stuff you see. And being single, dating, I feel like we continue to see that, and I don't want to make it seem like it's a woman thing. Like, I listened to Neo try to justify having 4 girlfriends, and like, man to man, when you're younger, that shit seems cool, but like, there's nothing for women to try to please long term. Like, bro, that sounds like a headache if you really think about it.
He ain't trying to please them. That's it's all for
like,
his ego. Yeah,
it's for his ego, and there's just. On both sides of the spectrum, I think I love this quote you always say, drop. We're losing the plot. Like, a red flag to me is supposed to be something like, I don't know, not trustworthy, can't control your temper, like seeing a side of somebody, stuff like that. So when I heard that from Dolce and listening to her music and knowing that the album she put out was like a reflection of how she felt at certain times, I just feel like she's way more intelligent than what she said as a joke. But Gerard, I want to give you a chance to explain what you said about the situation, because I think it was a great discussion in general.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just, with me, just me personally, I know everybody not like me, so I don't expect for everybody to think the same way that I do. I don't take things personally that's not pertain to me specifically. So just because I'm a straight man, that don't mean that I think that Dolce I'm not trying to fuck Dolce. So it shouldn't matter what her red flag is to me. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I just didn't really take offense to it. I thought it was funny too. Like, because I know her sexual preference. So I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, of course you wouldn't like straight men. You have a girlfriend, you're bisexual, you probably would prefer a bisexual man. Like, I get that. Yeah, I understood what she was doing, and I understood that her and her best friend was doing the hot one, so it was an inside joke between them, because you could see like her best friend laugh like, I thought you would say men, like, but she was a little bit more specific. So
yeah,
but I do get the other point of view where you're coming from. Is like, sometimes I don't think girls know what a red flag is. They just so they just be talking like, like I think she was just talking like, but like, I can't tell you what a red flag is to you. So maybe a straight man is like a red flag to you, which is cool. That's to each their own. That's fine. But to see the outrage afterwards is like, hit dogs be hollering. I'm telling you, because all these men came on Twitter just like losing their shit. It is like, bro, like, you really don't give a fuck. You just want a reason to complain. Like, this is not going to stop anything that you have going on throughout the day. And it's crazy she said this, because I think this shit is all hilarious. Like, I never took anything so serious. So after she said that, Tory Lanez had an album come out, and he was like, off the topic, I love Dolce, but I'm not going to say too much to jeopardize the fact that I want to fuck her. And it's like, that's why she said she don't fuck with straight men. Like, that's the reason why. That particularly, that right there.
Don't get me wrong. Dolce is very attractive. I would never have a chance, but at the same time, if we was talking and she was like, we talking short, small talk, and she's like, so tell me about yourself. And then I guess if the topic of, my sexuality came up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm straight. I'm like strictly women only. And she was like, red flag. I'll be like, in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck you mean? Like, red, like, what do you mean that's a red flag?
So to dive deeper into that, here's why she would say red flag to you. So Dolce's bisexual, right? And so you're dating Dolce, and what if the topic comes up to where instead of her wanting to date you anymore, now she wants to date a girl. Now you haven't, like, that mentally, you're gonna have an issue with that because you like how a girl gonna steal my girl. Like in your mind, that's what's gonna come up. But if you were bisexual, you would understand that it doesn't even matter. Like people, I like it doesn't matter. So that she wants someone who can understand her way of thinking in the dating pool. So that's why she said that. Because as a straight man, like you're automatically, your ego is going to step in front. Your pride is going to step in front. She don't want to have that type of conversation with you. So like, that's why if you go deeper, but I don't think personally she was trying to get that deep. I think this was, So like, that's what I'm saying.
And I agree. And a part of me is like, she's not being serious. So like, I'm not. We were talking about in our group chat, but like, I'm not going to Twitter. You know, there's been a lot of people that have taken this as like justification of Dolce being an industry plant.
Right.
I don't understand.
That shit is stupid. Like,
now that's the stuff where I'm like, all right, like this, like we again losing the plot. It's like
you got real people back in.
Yeah, like what it guys? Like, let's stay focused. Like she was laughing. I'm pretty sure it was a joke, but two, like. You can't be that talented and like it's just so fun. Like, again, social media, like God, like use your brains. Like what did R. Kelly say? Like hello,
like industry plant. Because I meant to tell y'all this. Like this is, I guess this is a nugget too since we're on the topic. Did y'all know she was on the 2022 freshman cover?
No,
I didn't.
So there you go, and it's 2025. And
damn,
she
bro,
just now popped.
She's talented. Like. You can't listen to her album and be like, there's nothing industry plant-ish about her. Like, thank you, Gerard, for reminding me about that. But like that, I think that's a great discussion. And it's just like, I don't understand why people are so obsessed with finding an industry plant. Like, what do y'all, is it the AI? Is it like y'all feel like, what are y'all alluding to with all the industry plant talk? But again, social media isn't real, so sometimes you just gotta put your phone down, take a walk, and be like, "Dog, motherfuckers is tripping," because ain't no way. But my father, I think I told you guys, I think either a few episodes ago, but basically I surprised my father, got him some shoes, and we were having a talk about music as we were listening to Sam Cooke, and I randomly asked him, like, who are some white artists? Because we've always talked about R&B, we've always talked about Motown, X, Y, and Z, but like. I know I like, certain white artists and whatnot, but like, I was curious, like, who are white artists that you like from around your time, right? And I think I mentioned, how my dad, like, casually talked about being a bodyguard for Rod Stewart. Oh, yeah. But when he thought about it, he told me to listen to a song that I finally got around to listening to called Maggie May by Rod Stewart. You familiar? Mm-hmm. Bro, I listened to it, I'm like, my dad likes this song? I'm like... That's kind of dope because we've never talked about like that kind of music. So I told him like, that was a great song. And it's even cooler that my dad listened to stuff like that because we never really discussed that type of music. But knowing he loves, again, Motown, R&B, but like also he loved Tupac when he first came out. Loved Kanye West when he first dropped like Jesus Walks. I know my dad's been open to different music, but like to hear a song like Maggie May and be like, damn, I was just kind of blown away. Like, this is really dope. Like, it's a good song. So I just want to say shout out to my pops and shout out to Maggie May or shout out to Rod Stewart, sorry. It has me wanting to go through his catalog a little bit more. But, like, I just thought that was super cool.
On my wrap
so,
up, it was either last year or the year before, Rod Stewart was my #1 song for the year. Young Turks.
Really? That's actually super dope. But, yeah, I wanted to start off with that. And although I took an L on the trip that I told y'all about, did give me an opportunity to listen to the album, I Am Music.
Jesus Christ.
Wanted to know, did you guys listen to that album in full? I know Drew said, I think he tapped out after the
30-second mark. No, I got like 7 tracks in. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And then I skimmed around the last couple days, and it's. Ugh.
I will say so. I tried to go into it in an open mind. I know I've talked about it when it came to like, I always talked about the weird energy of people that wanted to listen to an artist they don't like, rush through the album just to say it's trash. One thing about Playboi Carti is like, I really respect his fan base. Like, it's almost like how we kind of discussed Taylor Swift. It's like, I don't get it, but like at the same time, like, I respect the loyalty, but the intro track definitely was rough. But
you listened to the whole thing?
I did.
Oh my!
I listened to the whole thing.
You brave warrior.
I will say, bro, I'm just trying to be open-minded and also understand that we're getting to that point where like, I feel like it's easy to say listening to something not designed for us is trash. So I'm just trying to get a feel for like, okay, what do his fans, look for? What are they listening for? And like, what can I actually say about his music?
To be clear, I did not listen because I thought it was gonna be trash. I just 30 tracks is a lot. Like you gotta like carve some time. You went on a nice little drive, so you had some time. You gotta really like carve some time out to really like dedicate 30 tracks to. So I listened to the shit that people was talking about on the internet, like the song with Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. But I was like 30 tracks. Like I gotta make sure I'm doing something like that's gonna take an hour and a half. Right?
You have to plan out, and it's 30 songs. But I think overall the album was an hour and 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of short songs on there, but I do have notes I just wanted to touch on real quick. There was elements of the album I really enjoyed. There's like a DJ on a mixtape kind of theme on certain songs. Yeah. It's weird, but at the same time, with him being 29, like I respect that because like he's not super young, but he's not like our age per se. Yeah. So for him to acknowledge that, and we kind of talk about how we wanted themes on albums, I appreciated that. There's songs like Crush, Evil Jordan, and Philly that are actually really good. There's a song called Radar that's really good. He has a song called Rather Lie with The Weeknd, I think is a hit.
Define really good.
Really good song. For which song?
All those.
Rather Lie?
No, all those.
Rather Lie?
Because that Evil Jordan song in particular is super ass to me.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I know what you like, bro. Drew. So
I like shit you can understand. You cannot tell me you're listening to his music, understanding what he's saying in these lyrics. But at the same time, there's a lot. You're not wrong, but at the same time,
to be fair, I don't think Carti is making music for you to understand literal words. It's a feeling, like
it's a vibe. Like if you look at Carti and I've seen like clips of his concerts. I went into it like he. One thing I can say about him is he has like a different sound he tries to emulate, and in a time when we talk about, and I listened to a clip from the Joe Budden podcast. I don't want to steal their thunder, but like he does try to be different, and there are really good beats on the album. Like you said, there's certain songs where Drew, I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but I was bobbing my head and the beat was fire. Like, but I can say the same thing about certain songs of Future. So it's like,
the beats
I'm not going in expecting
super distorted and like they don't even sound clean. But I get if you're trying to make concert music, sure, but like. Maybe release.
So that's how I was listening.
Yes, that's what it is, and that's
he's aiming for the mosh pit, like just a good time. Like I'm not listening.
That's
to
the
like,
hard part about listening to Carti music to
really
me is because it's not to be sit down listen to. It's for you to be moving. Like it's just hype, like it's mosh pits. Like they call it rage. It's called rage music or something like that. So like it's not. It's for like those warehouse parties and stuff like that. So.
Bro, not to be slanderish, but like, look at Playboi Carti himself.
I know.
Like, him and all his fans, they got like the black vampire, like gothic, like that's their vibe, that's their energy. But like, I'm not gonna say us because we're not necessarily, but like our generation, we're getting to the point where like, remember Jay-Z on 444 when he said like, don't forget like Tupac had a nose ring too. Like, we're getting to that point now where like the old heads before us was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, bro. It's okay to just like have fun and listen to. It's like the way I see it, Drew. You know how you're watching Modern Family? You get home from work, you were looking for something light. Every album don't have to be like. I just want to get to a place where like we can listen to the album and like just I put it on. I wasn't expecting to hear no Andre 3000 bars. Like the beats was nice. He's got really good features. Like. There's multiple songs with Future. There's multiple songs with Kendrick. There's multiple songs with Travis Scott. I think, Drew, if you listen to it in a different energy, I think there actually are songs similar to some of the Kanye songs that you enjoy, just from a production point of view. But like, one thing I did have a problem with, apparently this album was like more than 5 years in the works, right?
Yeah.
How the fuck are you releasing the album and you still don't have the features on there, dog? Like, I blame Kanye for this too. Like, what the fuck are we doing? You got 5 years and you still have to do like a deluxe or like an album update.
And
like,
it was still late because Kanye didn't want to.
Bro, like what? You had 5, and that's why. So we talk about like, oh, certain artists can take a break, and it's like this album took 5 years, and even still, it's like, bro, it could have been much better than it was. And there's elements of it that was good. It's just like, man, what are we doing? Where you not? How the fuck? It's like you turning in homework, and you had all motherfucking semester to do it, but you turning in, you ain't citing your sources. You forgot to put your fucking name on it. Like, bro, what are we doing? But again, I can go on all day. Radar, Rather Lie, I thought, again, it was a hit, really good song. Backdoor, Toxic, We Need All the Vibes, featuring Young Thug. Like, there's some good music on the album if you go into it with the right attitude. But again, I'm not looking for him to change my life with lyrics. Like, I put it on, the beats was nice, and like, okay, now I kind of have an understanding for what his fans like. But if you're looking at it from like, it took 5 years to get this, there's a lot of things you can critique. So I just wanted to go in with an open mind, try to, show him some love. But
how'd you feel about Good Credit? Kendrick's verse.
So I guess I'm in the middle. As a Drake fan, I could easily take this and be like, dude, it was shit. It wasn't the best feature, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I got frustrated because the second half of what he was doing, like, it had more potential than what the final product was, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna try to shit on him. I'm not gonna X, Y, and Z. Like, there is certain parts of the song that are annoying with the voice that he did, but I'm not gonna say like it's the worst song ever. Like, I don't need to do that. So
I did.
I more so agree with how you viewed the song, Drew. But at the same time, like, I don't need to,
I think it's because I listened to the first 7 tracks first before I heard that song, and I'm like, where the fuck is this Kendrick verse everyone's talking about? Because this day and age, they don't release features right away. You have to wait for that for some reason now. And then
right.
I was like jumping around. I'm like just looking at titles. I'm like, all right, let's see what this one's all about. I was like, this is trash. So I asked my buddy, I was like, what song is Kendrick on? And after hearing all that shit I've heard before leading up to it, I'm like, man, I think Kendrick just stooped down to his level as low as he could for Kendrick to appease Carti fans. I'm like, it does not sound good to me. And just,
I like the verse.
I bet you do. I bet you do. And I'm so over the...
You bet I do what? I didn't even get to explain why I like the verse. You bet I do what? Why you think I like the verse?
And I know what you're going to say, because I'm...
No, you don't.
No, listen.
Tell me what I'm going to say.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm sick of Kendrick doing his voice shit, and you said, well, Eminem used to do the same shit. And I got sick of it after a point, and I'm getting sick of Kendrick doing that. Just, oh my god, dude, just fucking rap a verse.
Drew, I'm sick of you with this shit, bro. Like, no, I promise you, anytime anybody change their voice, Drew got a problem. So like, if they change their inflection one time, I'm sick of you with this shit, and you like doing that.
He's been doing it since Mr. Morale now, though.
No, but he's doing that shit. He did that shit with the album that he did with Baby Keem. Like, it's not new. So
I know.
I don't understand.
I'm getting sick of him doing it.
All right, man.
I told you too. I hate how it was broken up. How there's like 2 separate like little interludes in that verse too. I'm like,
I didn't like that.
Verse.
I didn't like how they broke it up. But like a lot of Carti's songs are disjointed like that. So I wasn't tripping off of that. But his verse, like the lyrically and what he was doing and stuff like that, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like amazing. I'm not going to say verse of the year or some shit like that, but that's what I'll be talking about with you. That's annoying. It's like everything got to be, if you ain't topping the last shit, it's trash. Like, it's either great or trash. Like, that's not true. Like, that's just inherently not true. So like, I that's what I hate that you do, is like, he be coming on here for hot takes. Soon as he go in the group chat, this shit was awful. Yeah. Like, it's like, no, it's not. It's not awful.
I will say it ended stronger than it started, but I feel like he could have definitely did better. However, again, I'm not taking the low-hanging fruit. That was one. Yeah, he could have kept that. I'm not gonna lie, but again, like, I actually thought the beat was fire. I just feel like I came away wanting more than what I got. But I'm not trying to slander Kendrick, but I do love, one thing I do love, though, I feel like I'm seeing the transition with Gerard. Obviously, Jay-Z is his GOAT, but I do love, like, what I'm seeing now from you and Kendrick's artistry. Like, because for a long time, with Jay-Z being your GOAT, And since we started the podcast, like Jay-Z hadn't been putting out that content. So like to see an artist that's putting out content and you being like a fan, I don't know, it's just something cool about that I enjoy.
I have noticed that.
But I will say, I don't know, I do think you are shooting him a little bit on the verse, but like I don't think I have to go to Drew's level as far as like dislike.
No, I'm just saying I said I like the verse. I'm not. This is the thing. I don't have to go into every like you. What I respect about what you did is you just listened to Carti's album. You wasn't trying to critique. So I didn't go into it listening to critique Kendrick's verse. It was just like, do I like it? Like, it's some things that he do that I don't like either. Like, but I'm not gonna be outwardly saying it's trash. Like, I don't care to do that. And that's the difference between all three of us, is that I don't care to just come out and just say something negative just for the sake of saying it. Like, that's, to me, that doesn't make sense. So I like the verse. Could there have been things better about that verse? Sure. But I don't give a fuck that much to say what could have been better or what could have been. But I can't push back at Drew and say it wasn't trash. And I can't tell you that I enjoyed it. Like, and I'll probably listen to it again. Like, if we're doing a rating from 1 to 10, it was probably like a 7.5. Like, and then you move the fuck on. I don't need to be up here and feel like I gotta nitpick every single thing. That's the difference. Like, I don't do that with anyone's music. I don't do that with Drake. I don't sit around saying like, well, he should have rhymed this with this right here, or I don't like when he did that. No, I don't. I'll just listen to something else. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Drew, what would you get if you had to rate the song from a 1 to 10?
The song itself?
Yeah.
Like a 4, probably.
I'll probably be between both of y'all, so I feel like it's fitting. I probably would have gave it like 5 or 6.
That's the other thing I've said. People are too afraid to give 3s and 4s these days, Gerard. You know, stoop low if you want.
I do, on the grander scheme of things, I do feel like, in general, like, Kendrick has reached this point with a certain audience where, like, he can't be criticized for anything, and it's like, bro, it's okay to say, and Gerard, I'm not speaking to you, obviously, but, like, if a person feels like it's trash, it's okay to say that, but, like, I think we're seeing, when you get to a certain echelon, it's like, remember how with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles, I was like, bro, I just want to see Kansas City lose. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves. Like, when you get to the top, there's going to be parts of you, if you're not a fan of that person, that just don't want to see that person being as successful as they are.
I also think that successful people, like, people be, I agree with you. I think people be scared to criticize people who are successful because, like, when anybody's on the top, the majority, the popular opinion is that person is good. So anybody is saying something bad about them, you automatically think that it's hate. And I just think that sometimes, like, it's not always necessary to critique. Like, do you enjoy it or not? That's literally on the thing. Drew didn't enjoy it. You was middle of it.
Let me back up. When I went into this album, I had 2 people text me, younger than me, and one said, "You should take a listen to this album. I know you don't like Carti, but a kid I work with said it's generational." I'm like, all right. And I was like,
yeah.
So then I had another text me say, "Hey, I know you don't like Carti. He just dropped a 30-track album." Like, there's another head slapper. So I'm doing 4 decks that day. When I sent you guys that picture, I was like, I need something to keep me going. Let's play Carti's album and see what we're listening to. From the very first track, I was like, dude, this is just noise. Like, what are we listening to here? Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't think people are honest enough about when they hear trash music, and they're so afraid to say it's not good. Like, it sounds like shit. It really does, man.
Yeah, but I don't like to judge like that because, like, you sound like the old man that be talking about.
That's fine. I'll be that.
No, hold on. But I'm saying, like, the generation before us, when you listen to, like, heavy metal rock, you don't know what the fuck they're saying either, Drew. You just hear the sounds and it's a feeling.
Depends
but, like,
who we're talking.
It's certain stuff like Metallica and a bunch of people that make that type of music that you enjoy. So let them enjoy this. This is, to them, that's the same thing.
Oh, they can enjoy it. That's fine. But I'm gonna tell you, it's dog shit. Like, if I can't even understand what you're saying in the verse, I'll tell you one thing I really hate about Carti, and maybe that's why I don't like his music. Every song is fucking distorted, and nothing's clean about his beats. Sure, maybe it's made for a concert, maybe it's made for a car. That's fine. In 30 tracks, you got to be honest with yourself. And any album we've talked about that's over 20 songs, there's not going to be good songs on there. It's impossible to do. I've never seen an artist do it, you know? And on top of that, the way he structures every one of his verses and choruses, it's all just mumbled together, and it's all off track, and I can't do that as a listener. I need some structure in my music. That's another reason I can't stand him. It's just,
I get it.
And then I'm just hearing the ad-libs out of nowhere that intercut with a verse, and like, where's the verse end and the chorus begins with him? It just doesn't make sense. It's not for me. It is. You're never going to convince me Carti's a good artist. When I'm hearing,
I get it.
I don't know if you ever seen that South Park episode where Stan wakes up one morning and just everything's shit to him. Like, he listens to some music and all he hears is like diarrhea noises. Like, he like all, and it's music he's grown up with, and like artists he used to like, and say, hey, they just released a new album, but all he hears is shit. Like, that's what I hear with Carti, and I'm not even trying to hate. It just sounds bad to me. It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I love how when you feel the way you feel, Drew, you just gonna tell it like it is.
Like, I can't do it. I can't do it with him. I don't get it.
The one thing I will say, the intro was rough, but like, again, that's why I talk about intros. Like, you're giving your listener more motivation to keep pushing. But somebody told me, I had multiple people talking about the intro track, made them turn it off. I'm like, okay. At the end of the day, if an intro track is enough to make you turn off an album, I feel like you really didn't want to listen to the album in the first place. Right. Like, so that's why I go in and try to have like I push past the intro, but like, there's things you could take away from the album to where I can get kudos. But again, Carti ain't making this fucking album for us. Like, he's making it for the people that enjoy listening to him. So it's like, I just wanted to go in, and I would be hypocritical if I say like, yo, people are listening to Drake, rushing through it just to hate. Like, I'm not about to do that to Carti, and I'll have a problem with people doing that to Drake.
Well, then, like, so I said I got through 7 tracks, and I saw 7 as Radar. But then I went on Twitter. I'm like, all right, what are the songs people like? So the other one people liked was Trim, with Cocaine Nose, and like another. I can't remember the other. And I listened to those. I'm like, still, it's just,
I like Trim.
It's not for me.
I like Trim. I like Twin Trim. Like, HBL, like, there's songs on here that's nice, but again, like,
I really want you to hear it though, Gerard. See how far you can get before it's like, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah, I mean, I already know what I'm expecting from Carti, so we'll see. You know, I saw 30 tracks and was like, listen,
no.
I love Chris Brown. When I seen 40 tracks from him, I was like, yeah, no, I need time to mentally prepare for this shit. So like, no,
that's a lot.
That's what I went into it with. Like, I just listened to that Kendrick Lamar song. I was like, okay, I see what they did there. I listened to the other one where Kendrick was basically doing the ad libs for Carti, and then
that Backdoor.
Yeah, and then
I thought Backdoor was really good. Like, that's the thing. Like, I went into it with an open mind. There's songs I definitely added from the album, but you know, I at the same time, I'm not surprised to hear Drew saying,
enjoy your
like,
youth,
oh,
B. You got a more youthful ear than I do. Enjoy it.
Well, I'm just trying to have an open mind, because like the same thing you said about Carti, there's certain Migos songs I can't tell you what the fuck they saying, but it bang. It's certain, like, there's certain Gucci, Future,
like you said with Future, and there's a lot of Future songs I have no idea what he's saying. Like,
if the beats might, like, so I'm trying to give it, like, we talk about how you got to have different lenses for different artists. Like, I'm not going into it, you know, with the same expectations I have for J. Cole. Like, is damn near hip hop rock. Like, you supposed to listen to it, you're supposed to turn up, you're supposed to want to rage. Like, that's what it's for, and I don't overcomplicate it. So, no, I'm glad I listened to it.
I want to rage. Also, like I said, to my Limp Bizkit still. And that's music I can understand.
No, that's real. So I mentioned I listened to Dolce's Alligator's Bite, Never Heal.
Let's give him a round of applause, Gerard, for doing that. It's been a minute.
I felt bad, honestly, because after I listened to it, I'm like, bro, I see why they wanted me to listen to it.
See why it's top 10
Drew, my first question was, the first question I had was like, am I weird because certain flows that she had sounds like the equivalent of a black female Asher Roth. Do you hear that in certain bars or certain songs?
No.
Knowing how you felt about Asher Roth?
My comparison was to Left Eye. That's how I felt, and I still feel about her.
I can see that. Paying homage to Busta Rhymes, I loved on Catfish. The song's fire. Hide and Seek and Skip I had as both fire. Beat is Cold and should have been longer personally. The beginning of Bloom is so relatable, like, and I wanted to put like that's why I love Therapy so much. I have Wait being fire, and I just see Dolce being around for a long time just due to her versatility. Yeah. Like, she's one of those artists where you're not gonna say, "Damn, I'm tired of her voice." Like, bro, she's got different flows, different sounds. Like, the one Will Smith is
she just
anxiety.
Yeah, she just added it to the album too.
Bro, like, there's certain people.
They released the extended version this weekend, and she added Anxiety to the very end.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that. Yeah. I saw it was added to Denial is a River as like Drew, you remember maxi singles?
Yeah.
So they added it to Denial is a River as a maxi single. I didn't know they added to the album. That's dope. Yep. Yeah.
No, that is really dope. Death Roll I have been is a good song. I wrote down the irony of boom bap. I don't know if y'all remember we were talking about Dave East and Ransom. So the time in which I listened to the album, I'm like, bro, this is perfect. Get the Fuck On, Bangs in the Whip. I got big Doja vibes on the song Huh. Did y'all hear any similarities at all with that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Slide, man, amazing.
Slide is fire, bro.
It is.
Bro, like Fireflies. So I put Fireflies wasn't for me, but I respect what she tried with the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like that's the mindset I'm trying to have listen to these albums. Like I just want to have an open mind sometimes. And Beverly Hills I have being inspired. So overall, no, I see why y'all, praise the album the way that you guys did. I can say I'm a fan of hers, even though, she hates me as a heterosexual man. But no, all jokes aside, I really enjoyed the album, so I appreciate it, and I'm sorry for how long it took me.
So you couldn't get into Nissan Altima like me, huh? Get your tits up, get your dicks up.
I love that. So I heard Nissan Altima.
Likes to get his tits up.
Hey, talk to me, Gerard. Hey, if you want my attention, hey. But I heard that song a while ago and didn't realize that
it was a TikTok.
I don't know how it went over my head, but I didn't realize that was Dolce. But that song is fire as fuck. Like. No, I love that song. Like, can't get enough, actually, Drew, to answer your question. But I got a surprise. The last album I listened to was Clips Hell Have No Fury. Drew, you asked me to do it. I'm like, you know what? I got the new hustle delivering mail, so I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna put this on.
That's hustling music too,
bro. The intro hit. I'm always talking about intro. That's how the fuck you do an intro. Mama, I'm Sorry, fire. I actually repeated that song, and then the next song being Mr. Me Too. Come on, bro.
Chef's Kiss.
Come on, like, come on. So a Slim Thug feature, Drew. I love Slim Thug.
I love that track.
What it do? Amazing. I really like the beat on Ride Around Shining.
Yep.
I have Dirty Money, Ain't and Chinese New Year all being fire.
Hello New World, I still listen to this day. Hello New World with that baby.
Bro,
it's just catchy music.
I did have a question. Who is the feature on Chinese New Year? Do y'all know? Because it's not listed on the album.
I think it's Homeboy Sandman. Remember him, Gerard? He was out for. Yeah. I think so they used to have. It wasn't even a group. They just had like affiliates that they used to do a lot of tracks and it was the Re-Up Gang. My bad. That was their little clique. And it was Ab Liva, who's on Ride Around Shining, and it was Homeboy Sandman, and there was one more. And they had like their little group within the group, but they never really panned out to be anything, those guys.
No, that's dope.
Yeah.
But no, I listened to it. I see why you recommended it. You said you thought I really liked it.
Nice, easy listen, too.
It was, bro. That's one thing I'm surprised you didn't mention. Like, it's what, like 44, 45 minutes? Like
49 minutes, 12 tracks. Yeah, perfect.
And then if I didn't know that Pharrell was a part of the clips, like, there's so many signals now that we've talked about, like, there's certain things he does in songs where it's like his fingerprints is all over it. But no, that's what I listened to.
Nice.
What have you guys listened to?
Gerard, can I go real quick? Because I want to share something with you. I listened to a lot, actually. So the first thing was Gerard's recommended Jermaine Dupri album, Life in 1472. Man, Gerard just knows the way to get my Friday mornings going, man. Like, I was on the way. It was my last day in Ann Arbor when I heard that. And I just blasted it, like, getting ready for my last day there. And just, JD production is phenomenal, man. Like, bro, it's top notch, and he just doesn't get recognized enough to this day. Like, during that time, he was
one of the people that I would say I don't feel like he get enough credit.
Not at all.
And
it's not only his production; he could rap. He could really rap back then. And it's funny when I never knew about this album. I thought Instructions was his only album ever. I thought he just did production for everybody back in the day. You know, hopped on a verse here and there. So when I heard this, I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, is this to a soundtrack or something? Because it says original soundtrack. So was it a movie he made or?
No, it was gonna be a movie about his life. So like,
oh,
that's dope.
Yeah,
I never knew that, but like,
you know why he didn't end up making it?
Nah, I never.
That'd have been crazy. But I think I remember you saying that "Money and the Thing" is on that album, Drew.
Yeah,
it's like one of my favorite beats ever. And arguably, I think he has one of my favorite verses on that song when he rides the beat just perfectly. Like it, I actually need to listen to the album myself.
So what I like about this album, and I noticed, is he does a lot of regional shit. So he goes to New York and he grabs Nas, Jay-Z. The third track he grabs DMX, and then he goes out west. He gets E40, Too Short.
Damn.
Great to hear Youngbloods, like a young Youngbloods on this.
Really?
Like,
oh, that's dope.
I never knew they were around back in this era. I thought they were, mid 2000s.
They were signed to So So Def, weren't they?
And then Damn was their first like big hit though in what 03, 04 or something like that. Like that's a long time.
They have been around though. Because what's his name? The light skinned one used to write for Bow Wow.
Oh shit! Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Really? No, that's sweet.
J-Bo was one of them. He was the other one.
Yeah, J-Bo was the dark skinned one, I think.
What the fuck was?
Damn, his name got
Slim.
Is
Y'all
no.
Everybody know me. I'm trying to think what he says in that song.
God damn! Now I'm gonna look it up because it's gonna make me mad.
But anyways, great album, Gerard. Like his production is flawless throughout. I thought the album lost a little steam in the last 2-3 songs, maybe. But he like I said, he went out east and he went out west and grabbed Snoop, Warren G, fucking the Brat's on it, which is really good to hear. Like, I know he fucked with the Brat a lot back in the day. Phenomenal album. Sean P. Yeah,
and they were signed to LaFace. So.
When y'all asked what his name was, I was gonna say Sean Paul because I remember it from the song, but I'm like,
yeah, that's what I was trying to think of the lyrics.
I'm like, I don't know if that was just lyrics or if he was saying his actual name. I'm like, let me shut the fuck up before I be on the podcast. Sound like a real casual.
Yeah. Phenomenal recommendation. You're 2 for 2 with the Camp Low one from a few years ago because I still have that on my library. But I'm gonna give you a lot of points right here. Jay-Z won a part of a beef, Gerard, with Nas. He made the better double album because I went back and listened to Street's Disciple, and it is not as good as Blueprint 2. Like when I texted you guys the other day, I said I'm listening to a double album. It was that one, and bro, it's kind of all over the place.
I blame Biggie because I blame Tupac because it's not always necessary to make a double album.
No, it's not at all.
When Tupac did it, Big was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it too," and make the greatest hip hop album of all time. I stand by that. And then Jay-Z was like, "Hey, Big did it, so I'm gonna do it too." And then Nas was like, "Hey, Jay did it, I'm gonna do it too." And then Drake did it. I'm like, hey guys, 15 tracks is fine. You know, right? You don't need to. Y'all don't need to do 30. It's okay.
It's the first disc is a lot better than the second, but the second is just all over the place, like with the beats and the choices he makes, and it's kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. So I listened to that. Yeah. I went back and listened to Ghostface Killah's Supreme Clientele because it's been since I was a kid, maybe middle school, since I heard that.
Didn't that have an anniversary?
Yeah, recently. I think it's been 20 years or something. So that's another reason I went back.
Bro,
Fire.
I love that album.
Fire.
I love
it. Sounds like it came out this weekend. Like Ghost is ageless, man. Like,
bro,
I think personally now hearing it with a more mature ear, I honestly can understand a lot more. But he was in his bag, as people were saying back in the day on this album. Like, it is flawless, front to end. And then the last album I listened to, another classic, if we want to talk about it, is Common's Like Water for Chocolate. And I've heard Common albums before, and I have some bias against him now. It's like all starting to sound the same with his music, so it's good. The production is really good, like the Jay Dilla production, but something about his rhymes, I just if it's not B or Finding Forever or the Dreamer Believer album, like those are the only three I really like. It's kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. There's parts where he's talking like he's a pimp on the album, and I'm like,
oh,
Common,
that's that album.
You're not a pimp.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Bro,
now. Yes.
There's a whole song where he acts like he's a pimp.
Yeah.
Goes through it. There's a skit.
That's that Chicago shit.
Come
that's
on,
that Chicago
bro.
Shit, bro.
Like you're not that.
You gotta let it rock.
You're not.
You gotta let it rock, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. I just want to say I haven't listened to any of Calvin's or Common's songs, but like, if you check his resume with women, he didn't have some of the baddest. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Hey, borderline get jokes about being a hoe, but like, I could definitely see a world where Common. Hey,
but then there's a skit that comes on where like a fan's coming up to meet him, and in the background a hoe's not doing her job and she's bitch. He's like smacking her like, "Oh, get back in the car." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like. This isn't the Common I know. You know, this is some fictitious shit I'm listening to.
That pimp lifestyle in Chicago was real, man. So, you know.
You think Common was...
Snoop was a pimp before, too.
You think... Can you picture Common out there, though? Like, no?
Honestly, I can.
Like B said, I can.
I absolutely all the stories I hear, he's in Detroit in Dilla's basement making beats and doing the boom bap shit. So that's all I picture is Common.
Hey, you know where they went, though? They went to a strip club. So, like...
somewhere on Michigan Ave, like one of those.
Nah,
Common has like the good
strip club on the east side.
Is that where they went?
It's closed now. Yeah, it's closed now, but yeah.
So. Common has a good dude like aura now, but like at the same time, like he went toe to toe with what was it? NWA, like Ice Cube, like
yeah.
There's parts of Common where I could definitely see like. A pimp side, and like Dry said, like Chicago, that's like Chicago and New York are basically like first cousins. It's a lot of stuff that could point to once upon a time, Common being a pimp. I can see it.
We gotta ask Artie now, but I don't remember. It was a comedian or something I watched back in the day. Me and Sonam were watching it, and every time I think of Common now, I think of this video, and I think it's why I got a bit of a bias, but, like, he was freestyling as if he was Common. He's like, this is all Common does. Round town, I break it down. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, so when I'm hearing this album and he's doing that kind of flow, I'm like, it's just... it's tough to listen to it.
No, that shit I sent y'all on Instagram, that shit was hilarious, dog. Like with that little boy did, yeah. Like,
but then you see videos of Common out in the streets just doing a random freestyle with somebody who's fucking killing it. You know, like it. I don't know. It's just something about Common translating his music to what he's saying and what he is for me. But that's what I listened to this week. So 4 classics if you want.
I didn't listen to much hip hop. I swear Vezo had a EP that he put out, so I listened to that.
How was it?
It was good. It was called Undefeated. So it got a record on there with Big Sean and Skilla Baby, and they was around the corner from me filming a video off of 6 Pounds. So I seen that. Got a record in Minnesota, another record with another Detroit rapper called GT. It's 9 tracks, 21 minutes.
Easy listen.
I think that was the start. I mean, I think he off his deal with who was he signed to before? The same.
You talking about Carti?
No, with the Migos. Remember he was signed to the Migos record label. So I think he's off that deal because this was independent. So I listened to that. And then I sent B a couple tracks. It's this. I randomly ran across this dude. His name is Elmaini. Yeah. Bros, this nigga sing like an angel. Like,
literally.
Bro.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
I was so happy you sent me those songs. I was in another world. Like, remember I talked about when I listened to the Weekend old projects and I felt like something was hooked. Like, that's R&B. That is R&B.
Listen, it was random as fuck. I'm literally, and it was late when I sent it to B too. I'm scrolling Instagram and I watched this video, and they were at the Oscar party and like they had like a little like I don't know what you call it, like a coffee set, and he was just playing in the set. And what's her name that was in what is it? The Wicked Witch movie. I forgot
Wicked?
what it's called right now. Yeah, Wicked. Like she was in Wicked, and her girlfriend, they might be married, so her wife was there, and they was just singing and vibing to it, and he was just singing covers of songs, and bro, he was killing it. Like he sang Drew Hill, he sang something else too, like a Maxwell. He was sounding like, dang, this nigga cold. I'm like, I wonder just like, do he got music? And so like I clicked on his Instagram profile, and he had music, so I'm looking on it. And I seen Sweetness with Leon Thomas. I was like, all right, well, let me listen to this. I'm like, oh no, this shit fire, bro. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me listen to some other stuff. And then he had Crystal Tears and Light Work. I'm like, yo, this dude is cold, like cold. And like he play his own music, and like, bro, he's amazing voice. And I sent that shit to B like instantly, you know, because I know B fuck with R&B. But if you're interested, Drew, I can send it to you.
Yeah, I actually am now.
All right, for sure.
Honestly, just the fact that Drew thought of me and sent me those songs, and they were so like, they were perfectly like,
bro, they were
R&B, like I was low key honored. I'm like, man, Drew, when you know somebody, you know somebody. That shit was amazing.
Yeah, like B said, they were perfect, and it was unexpected because Leon Thomas had a interview. He was talking to somebody, and they asked him to pronounce the dude's name. He was like, I don't know, I just call him bro. Like so like, I was like, yeah, I didn't know who he was then. But then when I seen the video, I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Yeah, this dude is cold. Like, and he looked like dang, who he looked like? Like if Zach Fox was big and had a beard. So
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, but no, he's cold. It's El Miami. Yeah, so I'll send it to you, Drew. But I'll just listen to that. I was watching shit off for real. It wasn't nothing.
I forgot one more. I listened to that BG album, Freedom of Speech, and
oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, you know, I'll probably never listen again, but it's a good little listen. It's just the time.
I'm sorry, Drew. I still need to listen to that song you sent me. I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. I can't. Your audio changed. Your mic might have went out.
How about now? All right, there we go.
Yeah,
so, do you want to hear it real fast? I'll just play it through here. It's
you can quickly.
Oh my god. Here. Oh my god. Hold on, right.
Yeah, I think I've heard enough. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's just, I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, I was like, oh man. But he's got Birdman on 2 tracks. But
I agree with you, Drew. That was awful.
That was awful. Like, how do people hear this and be like, yeah, that you know what? That's going to be on the album. That's a final cut. But so I listened to that. But the whole time he's talking about how he went to jail pretty much, and they had to use his lyrics in a court case, and he actually got found guilty of some of the lyrics and was locked up for a while. So now he's out and saying what he wants to say because he's a free man. So yeah, but that whole Hot Boy era is pretty much over for me. Like, they don't really sound the best anymore. So
that's real. Gerard, you went through everything you listened to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gerard, I know you have to get out here, so I'm just gonna real quick go through what I watched. John Cena turning heel. Haven't talked about that. Thought that was super dope. Yeah. I think Basic Thugonomics might be back. John Cena's also reportedly going bald for his upcoming heel run. Some sources say that a drastic change is part of the complete character overall, with WWE fully committed to presenting a new version of Cena. Side note, also have noted here, somebody tell Travis Scott, wrestling is not real, and if you are making a guest appearance, you're not supposed to smack the shit out of the talent in the ring. But what Travis Scott will learn is guys like that keep receipts, and the next time he in the ring, he better keep his head on a swivel, because all wrestling guys, they talk about it. They keep receipts. So also, WWE was recently in Barcelona, and the crowd was doing like the chants they do in soccer matches. Dude, it was hype as fuck. Like, I literally like never expected those two worlds to coexist and be so hype. But it was cold. And I wanted to know, Jacob Fatu I'm pretty sure he's part of the bloodline, like, you know, the whole like Rikishi, Rock, family tree. But this dude is like a heavyweight, like probably like a little smaller than me, maybe, but like a little taller. But this dude is literally like a high flyer, as if he was Jeff Hardy, like guaranteed heavyweight. Like he will be a champion. So if y'all ever get into wrestling matches, whatever, I would recommend him. I ended up watching Edge versus Mick Foley in a hardcore match, WrestleMania 22. Ranked 42 on the best matches ever list. Gerard, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that, or did you get a chance to?
I didn't get a chance to watch. I'm going to.
Okay, yeah. I trust you. Drew, I think you mentioned a match that you watched.
I did. I've been watching a lot of paper. So Peacock took off all the Raw and SmackDown episodes since the transition to Netflix, and now Netflix still doesn't have those seasons on there. So like where I was watching in 2010 was just completely lost. Like it so what I've resulted to is just watching all the pay-per-views and just leading up for each year, which, you know, they're the best part anyway. And they tell some of the backstory of what, like, how the feud led up to this. But
before the match.
So I watched.
I would recommend going on YouTube if you know where you were at. Do I go on YouTube and they literally have full matches? Like,
I should do that.
I think you'll find what you're looking for.
At the same time, there's so many like B matches and C matches on Raw and SmackDown. I'm just, you know, fuck it. I'll just watch the main events. But it was Royal Rumble 2011, and Nexus was like a big thing then. They were like all the NXT guys who formed their own pack in the WWE, and Wade Barrett and CM Punk were like the big ones who led it. And during the Royal Rumble, just unexpected, there's always like a surprise guest. And sure enough, Kevin Nash came out. Diesel. Bro,
oh, that's cool.
The pop was so fucking, like, because nobody expected it. And you hear the woo, the howling. Bro,
that's cold as fuck.
People were on their feet. I was
sitting here thinking, I don't think that was Triple H. I'm like, I wonder who the pop was. So I was excited to hear who it was.
He got eliminated. And it was funny because he was walking to the ring. He was walking out as Big Show was walking in. And they're, like, height-wise, both, 7'1". Yeah. So, sure enough, Big Show goes in and gets eliminated within seconds. And, like, it was a good match. Yeah.
Man, there's some classic, like people getting thrown out of Royal Rumble.
Seconds.
Like, that shit is always hilarious. So I watched Bruce Lee, The Way of the Dragon. Dude, like, for the movies to be so old, but seeing how far, like, martial arts and stuff, like, people, obviously, Bruce Lee gets credit, but at the same time, it's like, just what he was able to do in his short amount of time. He passed away at, 32? Yeah. Like, bro, a legend. Like, I was literally blown away. You could just see, like, to this day, there's certain things that were emulated from him. Like, bro, you can't give enough credit to the guy. Somebody made me watch Beast Games. Have y'all watched that show at all? Mr. Beast, the streamer, he has like
it's like its own Squid Game kind of.
Yeah, bro. If y'all ever get a chance, just watch the first episode and let me know what y'all think. But that shit was intense. Keon Coleman was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony.
That was
really good. Keon Coleman is great when it comes to interviews and just being authentic. I really came away though with Carmelo. Really impressed me with the quality of his podcast. Like. To know Carmelo and know he was kind of like on the quieter side and like kind of look like he asked really good questions that's beyond the surface level. So between him and I really wanted to shout out the Club 520 with like Jeff Teague. It's just dope to see guys that like nobody would see Jeff Teague as a player and be like, you know what, he's going to be good in the media. Like, so I'm really enjoying that. Actually, speaking of Jeff Teague, he said Cade Cunningham is a future NBA MVP. Like, he's a big Cade Cunningham believer, so that was cool. St. Brown Bros with Big Sean. Great episode. Big Sean talking about he didn't expect I Don't Fuck With You to blow up the way it did. And playing it at Jay-Z or around Jay-Z and Beyonce. And Beyonce wanting a woman to be on the track, feeling like it was too like aggressive. And Jay-Z being like, I don't think that. Beyonce wanted Nicki Minaj to be featured on it, and Jay-Z was the one that was like, nah. But then following up with Big Sean after 11 saying like, bro, every day you don't release that song, like it's a big mistake. He released it, boom, rest is history. So thought that was dope. And then he talks about eating Jets recording with Eminem and how he was starstruck, but he didn't want to ask for autograph. Come to find out, Eminem had a copy of one of his projects and asked him for autographs. So it's just dope. showing how you never can be too big to be a fan, quote unquote, of somebody. But that was just super dope to see. And then Ready to Love Philadelphia. I was Av, aka possibly threatened, but I watched it. But I wasn't expecting to see Cousin Tommy on the show. I actually really did enjoy it. So shout out to Kiera, Gerard. Thank Kiera for me. I get the idea, but I'd definitely be thrown off with. They had like a wedding that they participated in that at first I thought was like.
So that's from a previous season. So those people met on Ready to Love the previous season or 2 seasons before, and they got married on the show. So
see that because I'm like, you know how sometimes they put contestants like an awkward scenario just to see. I'm like, a marriage like the first day everybody meet each other, like it just. But now that you explain it, it makes more sense. Was thinking like, how are their tears and emotions in a dress rehearsal wedding? But then I realized like, oh, they're actually getting married. So it all slowly came together. But no, I actually did really like the show. But yeah, that's all that I watched. Was there anything y'all watched y'all wanted to talk about?
So I watched. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's a movie called Challengers with Zendaya. It is a great fucking movie. It's a great
Challengers?
Movie. Yes. And so I avoided it at first because people were saying like, "Oh, Zendaya has this threesome scene with 2 guys."
That's not what happened. Movie.
That's not what happened. It is an amazing fucking movie. Y'all have to watch it. And it's
What's it called again? One more time.
It's called Challengers, and it's about 2 tennis guys that was fighting.
I did see that trailer. Yeah, I saw that trailer.
Bro, that is an amazing movie. Like y'all should watch it. The editing, the writing, it is a great movie. Definitely should watch that movie. Like I came away extremely impressed with that movie and Zendaya's performance. It was a great concept that they came up with, and that was super dope. So yeah, Challengers, amazing movie.
Watch it.
I watched another movie, which is not so amazing, called The Substance with Demi Moore. So it's a good concept. The ending was just weird as fuck, bro. So
I love that you watch movies like that, Gerard. Like you add elements to the show, I always appreciate because I would never watch it like that. So I appreciate that about you.
Like the idea is great. So like you get old and you want to, I guess you want to feel like your younger self and still experience things as a you. So you take this substance and then basically you, instead of like getting cloned of yourself how you are now, you get cloned as a younger self. But you are still one. So you still share with the younger person, and you can only be that young person 7 days, and then you got to go back to the old person, and then you can go back to the young person 7 days. So the concept is great, especially people who are talking about aging and if you haven't lived up to your potential and stuff like that. I understand it. The end is what fucked me up. So if you watch the movie, you'll see what happens in the end. Is kind of like that went too far. So but with Demi Moore, if you want to see Demi Moore naked for half the movie, try it out. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, what's the name of that movie?
The Substance. And she old Demi Moore too. She still look alright. I ain't gonna hold you. She still look alright. You know.
Hey, prime Demi Moore.
No buns, but you know, white women. You know, so. Yeah. Like B said, Ready to Love Philadelphia is a good season so far. A lot of fine black women. Did anything happen that I like to talk about? Nah, one dude is a homosexual. Like, so I don't understand going on a show and you don't have anywhere to live in per se, and you still looking for love. That's weird to me.
That's
but
true.
Hey, if you find enough and you willing to slang that thing for, you know, a warm bed, go for it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But The Pit, I keep telling y'all, you gotta watch it. It is the greatest show on TV. It is the greatest show on TV. The Pit.
I see it every time I log into HBO.
Bro, it is amazing. This is a great, like, it is so well written, so realistic to the hospital environment, especially working in ER. I can't say any more about it. It's just a really great show. I went to the Pistons game on 3-1-3 day.
Yeah, you're not allowed anymore.
One, the refs are ass. One, the refs are ass. And two, drawing up a play for Tim Hardaway Jr. to hit for a game winner is possibly the dumbest shit that JB Bickerstaff can ever do. I seen that shit, and I promise I did not understand why the play was drawn up for him. And I also don't understand a lot of the threes Tim Hardaway Jr. takes. So, but whatever, we lost. That was some trash shit.
Yeah.
I also watched We Beat the Dream Team on Max. It was really good. It just, I mean, just from the perception, like from what the Dream Team was and the select team, and I think the Dream Team, yes, they were great at what they did, but you kind of had to. You could tell, like, sometimes when dudes in the NBA that they don't pay attention to college, because if you look at that select team, we could kind of guess that they was gonna get into the Dream Team ass, like, you know, Chris Webber, Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, what's his name? The dude that played with Grant and Duke,
Christian Laettner.
No, Christian Laettner was on the Dream Team, so he knew.
Allen Houston.
He was like, Allen Houston, right?
Allen Houston. You said Penny, right?
Yeah, I said Penny.
Jamal Mashburn.
Was
a dog. Bro, Rodney Rogers, if people remember him.
Rodney Rogers was a dog too. Yeah.
People forget Bobby Hurley.
Man,
that was.
And then the big dude, he just recently passed away.
Eric Montrose?
He got game too. Yes, Eric Montrose. Yeah. So, that's, bro. Looking at that team now, like we know them, I would have expected them to get them a run for their money. So, yeah. And for them to actually beat them, even though they only won by like 8 points, and then the second game, the next day after the Dream Team realized that they were actually good, they blew them out by 40. So, you know, it is what it is, but they still beat them. So that was actually, if you really want to like understand the severity of what was going on and why the Dream Team like was looked at the way they were, then we beat the Dream Team. And also, I don't know if y'all start watching Paradise, but the finale for Paradise came on, and
I watched the first episode of that. I was gonna tell you, bro, bro, that shit was So I don't have Hulu. I forget how I was able to watch the first episode, but now like all I want to do is like actually get into that show because I fully understand why you
that's one of the, and then people was arguing on social media because Drew know this. You know, when you get your wife, you'll see this too. So what happened was, and I'm not trying to spoil it, but I've already spoiled it in recent episodes. The world is about to end. But so he doesn't know exactly that the world is about to end, but the president knows. So he told him, hey, go get your family because obviously you're coming with me. His wife, Xavier, who is the head Secret Service, his wife had to go to something in Atlanta for her job. And so he's telling her, like, hey, we need to go with the president. You can't go to Atlanta. Something's happening. And so the wife like, well, what's happening? He's like, I can't tell you, but I don't think you should go to Atlanta. She was like, well, it's a overnight trip. I'll be right back. On social media, women are telling men, well, why didn't he fight? It's like, nigga, he just told you don't go to Atlanta. And she was like, I'm arguing with my wife and her best friend because her best friend was like, and they're both really like, Kiera, y'all know Kiera, so they're very, very strong-minded, so I was like, you wouldn't listen, I would have to literally cuss you out to say, like, no, you cannot go, because y'all gonna ask 5,000 questions after that, and it's like, don't nobody got time to answer those questions. I said, don't go to Atlanta, like that should be enough. If I'm telling you the president said you coming with me, then I say don't go to Atlanta. What you need to know the intricate details for? Just come on. They tell me, and all of social media like, well, if you would have just been more stronger about this, I would have stayed. Like, what?
No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't have. Right.
And Gerard, this goes back to my point when we were talking about Dolce. It's like, you see all these profiles saying, I want a strong alpha man. Oh, cool. Sometimes a dude look, I forget what comedian it was. He was telling a joke. He's like, basically, like, a dude could tell you to duck down because he knows somebody about to get the shooting. Yeah. Woman has to ask all specific, why I gotta duck down, blah, blah. Look, sometimes to save your life,
listen, right?
You just gotta live like it just, oh my goodness. Bro.
And it's all in joke and funny games, but they was like, the wife obviously ends up in Atlanta and the world ends and she's stuck in Atlanta. Now she can't, now she dead. And he up here crying about it. A nigga like me would have been like,
even if he does, okay, even if he does say, you know what, I'm gonna tell you, I ain't supposed to tell you, I'm gonna tell you. That's not gonna just stop there. It's gonna be more questions.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. And then yeah, so like that part is funny. That's going around on social media. Like women really don't listen to their husbands. It's like, yes, because I told you don't go to Atlanta. You went to Atlanta anyway. So like,
just imagine a world where the lady be like, okay, like literally save your life, like just
right.
Oh
so,
my goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's a really good show.
I gotta catch up on the show now.
Yeah,
I got to.
Yeah, but yeah,
was there anything else? Okay, Drew, have you what have you been watching?
Yellow Jackets, Modern Family, same old. White Lotus season 3 we started.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to start that. Yeah.
Slow burn like all their season.
It always is.
It just gets you invested a little.
Right.
Righteous Gemstones season 4, their last season just started, is the worst premiere they've had by far. It was
really?
My god,
Damn.
it was complete side story, not even to the show. They didn't even need it. For the last season, that's a weak way to start. But then I wanted to shout out that Chris DiStefano stand-up I watched on Hulu. Like, highly recommend. It might be the best stand-up I've seen in last 4 or 5 years. And then we watched one the other night, Andrew Scholes, that George recommended. It's called Life.
Was it good?
Dude, Gerard, as a girl dad, you will love it. It is, because he talks a lot, and it just, when you say it out loud, it sounds like, it's not for me. He talks a lot about coming, pause. He talks a lot about vagina.
I know, because he had
a hard time.
issues.
Yeah, hard time having their dog. Like, they spent like damn near $40,000 trying to have their kid. Like, went through a lot of shit. The way he tells these jokes, though, like, his punchlines are so fucking good. The way he relates them to something else, that it just, you forget you're listening to a dick joke. On top of that, he's saying vagina jokes better than some female comedians are. Like, it's just, he was like, you guys all know how a vagina looks like on a chart or something. He said it looks like a scarecrow. He's like hanging like that, bro. Fucking crying. Then at the very beginning, he's like, you want to hear one of my favorite New York jokes ever? And he's like, how do teams get named after, special events or whatever? He was like, well, I'm from New York. He was like, put it together.
Oh my god.
He's like, we did it before. We called them the Jets. I'm like, bro, that's how you open a stand-up with a 9/11 joke like that. Like, just fucking cry. Like, that's how he opens the special.
Get back to real comedy. Drew.
Real comedy. Like, shit that, like, you can't say these days because, man, a true New Yorker.
Man.
Like,
Dog,
it's
that's
so
hilarious,
it's
bro.
on Netflix. You should watch it, man.
Oh
Like,
my
Dron,
God.
I'm not gonna lie. So there's a part near the end, I was in tears, like crying, like because he's a girl dad. It got me in the feels, so it's worth it.
Oh man,
You got to check it out. It's so good.
Drew, what's it called?
It's called. His name's Andrew Scholes, Schulz, and it's called Life.
Oh my
Bro.
god.
Like,
I love 9/11 jokes.
They're-
I'm not gonna lie.
we went through it, We went through the scary time.
Exactly.
And now
we could joke about it because we lived through it.
We
but
seen all the
when I hear-
conspiracy theories, we know what's funny now. Like, that shit's funny to make fun of now.
that every time I see somebody do a really good 9/11 joke, I die laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Shea, I forget what stand-up it was, but he told some hilarious joke.
Yeah.
And I was laughing from my soul. Like, he let it be known, like, I got some 9/11
Bro,
jokes.
of all people, Pete Davidson, his dad was a firefighter who died during it, and he still makes 9/11 jokes. Like, oh man,
We're part of the fucked up generation where we went through so much trauma. Like,
it's funny.
I laugh
You gotta
about it
laugh through
sometimes. We get through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I sent it to y'all on Instagram, but somebody was like, why did 789 or 789 and then why is 10 stuck? I'm fucking the joke up, but it says something about why is 10 sad because it's in between 9/11.
Oh my, that's good.
Dog,
that's
shit
good.
was, bro. I died, bro. Like,
Sometimes you just gotta laugh, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta laugh.
oh, y'all, My bad, Drew.
No, that's all I listen to.
The new episode of, y'all got to watch the new episode of Abbott.
I didn't know they were back yet. After the break.
Bro.
I definitely got to
They did karaoke. I'm telling you.
I think I saw a clip.
Funniest shit ever, bro.
In that same episode, was that when Greg was talking about making an oldies playlist? Is that the same episode?
Yeah. No, was that the episode before? It was the episode before with the oldies playlist.
I got to catch up because when they started talking about In the Club and Rihanna, I'm like, dog, we really are this old. like technically, those are oldies to them. Like, I fully, that shit was hilarious.
No, Greg and Janine, I'm going to just tell you, they did a duet.
Oh, man.
A Ja Rule and Ashanti. Oh, my God.
Hilarious.
Oh, my God.
I saw the clip on Twitter, I think. Man. That shit was, I definitely got to catch up.
Yes,
so it's officially back, the second half of this season?
Yeah.
They're back weekly? Okay. No, I'll check it out for sure.
Yes. And it's a callback. If you're a true Abbott fan, it's a callback on this season to season 1, and you'll see it when you see it on this episode. So.
I'll bet. Way to get my anticipation up. I appreciate that. Drew, I think you said that was all that you watched. Real quick, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the NFL offseason. Steelers sending draft picks and trading for DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf signing for $150 million. The $33 million of new money average per season is the largest deal in franchise history, which is crazy when you think about all the legends that have played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills signing Josh Allen to a 6-year, $330 million new contract.
Man.
Set a new NFL mark. Includes $250 million. Sorry,
the way he's been playing, though, he's worth it.
Disrespect, man. Look, his kids ain't gonna have to ever. Allen had 4 years left on his deal, and the Bills still rewarded him. So I thought that was dope. Myles Garrett went from wanting to go to a winning situation to all of a sudden, I guess they laid out some plan in addition to the new contract that he got because. Averaging $40 million a year, $123.5 million guaranteed, highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
Didn't Kenny Pickett just sign there too? Because to Cleveland,
sure
because they had the thing that he thinks he can be the man there now. I'm like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, don't get me started. Did want to shout out Garrett's agent Nicole Lynn from Clutch Sports. Yeah. Because she's been behind a few amazing deals and a woman making history. She is indeed cold. Rams signing Devontae Adams 2 years, $46 million. The Patriots signing Harold Landry 3 years, $43.5 million. The Raiders re-signed Max Crosby to 3-year, $106.5 million extension.
What you sad for? That's your team.
I know, Gerard. I just wanted him to come home. Making him the highest paid non-quarterback at that point, I'm pretty sure, in NFL history. Congrats to Max Crosby and staying with the Raiders.
Congratulations.
Exactly how I fucking feel. Also, NBA wanted to give prayers to Kyrie Irving. He tore his ACL. Appeared in 50 of 62 Mavs games, and since then they just have gone to even further shit. He was the only player in NBA averaging 20 points, shooting 40% from 3 and 90% from the free throw line, which would have been his 5th season in his career with those statistics, second most all time behind Steph Curry. Also, I have to admit, I wasn't a fan of Kyrie during the whole pandemic thing, but ever since then, I really appreciate how he's been handling himself. Grown into quite the leader, and also. He'll do random donations to GoFundMe's, and that's just that's something I just really admire. So I'm hoping he bounces back better than ever, but just wanted to show him some love. Steph Curry has accepted a role with his alma mater, Davidson College, as an assistant general manager for basketball programs. The university officials told ESPN. Curry now becomes the first active player in U.S. major pro sports to take an administrative job with the NCAA team. Further proof that in this economy you need more than one job. But going on for my bad. Talk about the Pistons. Gerard talked about them earlier. Since February 5th, or the February 5th actually, the Pistons were 25-26 and in 7th place in the East, behind Miami and a half game behind Orlando. Since then, it's been updated now after they lost a few games, but they were 12-3 since that time. Orlando was 5-9, and Miami was 4-12. So the Pistons' turnaround has been amazing. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White combined for 84 points. 19 of 33 3-point shooting in their game against the Trailblazers. Pritchard had 43 points, 10 of 16 shooting from 3. White had 41 points, 9 of 17 from 3. The first time in NBA history that 2 teammates have hit at least 9 3-pointers in the same game. The first time in Celtics history that 2 teammates have gone for 40 points in the same game. Again, all the legends that play for Celtics, that's fucking crazy. Those 2 guys are the ones to get those records. I had in my notes how the Lakers are prime time, since getting Luka, but LeBron has since got hurt. But the game they had against the Knicks was playoff level intensity, and that's why the narrative of the NBA, people aren't watching, is getting boring. Like, there have been amazing games this year, and people just don't watch, and it's the casuals mostly saying that. So I wanted to point that out. And the last nugget I have here, I actually have had in my notes for the last few times we recorded. We just didn't get around to it, but I completely forgot to mention. There was 9.3 million viewers for the Canada versus USA hockey game that was on ESPN, which was higher actually than any NHL game ever. I believe it's like their equivalent of the All-Star.
Yeah.
They kind of switch your All-Star format, but like, dude, literally like between the fights and just seeing the intensity they had, I thought that was really cool. And it was like the first time, Drew, we were hooping one night and people left the run to like hurry up and get home so they could watch it. So if NHL can do that with
penalty shot, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure. But like just to see how the NHL has kind of like shifted and made their all-star, I guess festivities watchable. Yeah. I just feel like it's possible for other, whether it's the NBA or NHL to do the same thing. But I thought that was really dope.
That shit,
it is dope.
That shit was fire, bro.
It was fire as fuck. Like the fights immediately, like during certain games, like no, that was cool. So I just wanted to show love to the NHL. But that's all that I have, fellas. Was there anything y'all wanted to add before we get out of here? Well, Gerard, I wanted to thank you because you were correct. I feel much better now after having pot therapy. The sun is shining. I'm just like I always say, some days you the windshield, some days you the bug. So on that note, this has been another episode of Two Hip Hop Senseis and the Casual. Until the next time, man. Y'all be easy.
Take care.
That was a dope ass pod.